we're honored with someone interviewing our group for, I think their school. I'm not really quite sure, but we'll hear about it when Rebecca's done. So got a little late start, but I think it's going to be totally worth it. We're here in Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. And yeah, we're hoping to have some good conversations with strangers about values. I'm Vegan Stoner Lady, and we're anti-animal use. We'll go ahead and pass around the microphone.
I am Enigma. You can find me on Instagram at genderless Enigma. My partner and I also run Total Liberation Now. You can find that on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram as well. If you're interested in thinking about how human liberation is intertwined with animal liberation, that is a great place to start. We're working on putting together some really great resources at totalliberationnow.org as well. So visit there if you're curious about those topics. We are anti-animal use here today, and we're in Portland, Oregon. We're at Pioneer Place Mall, and we're looking to have some conversations with people.
Hi, it's Pam.
It's Pam!
Good to see you here. Looking forward to having some good interactions with you and everybody who comes by.
Yes, exactly. Pam put it perfectly. We're here to have conversations with strangers and with you. And genuinely, we're coming at this from a perspective of, we think that you're probably a good person who has decent values, who thinks that we shouldn't exploit others. It's just that we're not all living in alignment with those principles. Our actions are showing otherwise. And, sometimes we just don't know. Sometimes it just takes someone pointing it out. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Oh, I didn't grab a sign for all of us. I didn't even think about it because we were setting up because I don't have the wagon today. Yeah, exactly. That one was just for the outside, but they're all right there, yeah. Oh, Rebecca, do you want to say something? I don't know what just
sure.
went on.
Hey, I'm Rebecca, also the Uncaged Front at theuncagedfront.org, and I was talking to a college student who wants to, she's doing an investigative kind of piece for her English class on science research with animals. And so I was talking to her about that, and she wanted to know about our group and our views and what we do and everything. So that's what I was up to. But anyways, it's great to be here today with everybody, and check out my blog. I just had put out a blog post about 2 weeks ago. I have another one in the works. Something on people in the helping professions and what their disconnect is with speciesism. So I'm coming in hot on that one. Can't wait to write that one. And I'm on Instagram. So yeah, glad to be here today. And thanks to all the great vegans for being here. Hi, Louis, Jason, Pia.
I couldn't get the messages to go up like that.
Really?
Yeah, yesterday I was stressing Pam.
Another damn vegan. I'm gonna have to put my glasses on. Chat is so small.
Hello to everybody here. Hi, Pia. It's great to have the vegans here. Just getting started here in Portland, Oregon. It's a beautiful sunny day. Hi, Anik. Hi, Jason Goot. Jason Goot says, damn vegans. Yeah, we're back out here again.
Right.
We're not going anywhere. Hi, Anik. I want to ask any non-vegans who are in the chat, leave your justification for exploiting other animals, for treating them as resources to exploit rather than individuals to respect. Leave that in the chat so that we can spark up a discussion. It's great to have everybody here. I want to ask you to double tap that screen. Everybody get some hearts going in the chat. Maybe vegans put some green hearts, type those in the chat as well. Share the live as well if you have a favorite chat. If you have some folks who are interested in these types of discussions, maybe leave it in your favorite group chat. Hi, Louis.
But I gave her our other...
We're here in Portland, Oregon, for anybody curious. It's a beautiful day here. We're at Pioneer Place Mall, and we're looking to have discussions about how humans should relate to other animals. Should we relate to animals as resources and objects to exploit and use? Or should we relate to animals as individuals who deserve respect and bodily autonomy of their own? If you have a thought, if you want to spark up some conversation, I'll respond to you. Seeing lots of vegans here so far, seeing the green hearts. Thank you all for being here. Hi, Neil. It's great to have everybody here. Everybody keep double tapping that screen. Just getting started here. So to let the algorithm know. To the vegans, to keep the chat moving, I'm going to ask you also to leave a message. Where are you watching from? Lambretta says, Team Brain Dead Trolls in chat. Yeah, there are often some trolls in the chat. A lot of them. Very thankful to the vegans and mods who keep the space somewhat free of bigotry. We're not going to tolerate that. Spain, okay. The Netherlands. Wow, Minnesota. The UK. People join in from all over the world. How fun is that? It's great to have you. Anybody's curious, we're in Portland, Oregon, having discussions with y'all in the chat as well as people in person who are comfortable enough to come on camera about animal ethics. We're asking the question, is it ethical to exploit animals for their flesh or their secretions, or to use them for entertainment, clothing, or testing when we live in 2026 and we have another option? When that exploitation and violence is needless, when we have another choice, how could we justify continuing to be violent and continuing to exploit them? If you have a response, leave it in the chat. Somebody says burgers taste good. So this is a very frequent argument that vegans hear. And I want to respond to it by asking, do you think sensory pleasure justifies violence against animals? Do you think, for instance, if somebody got sensory pleasure out of eating a dog, would that justify killing the dog when they didn't need to? And if you say no, if it's not okay for the dog, what makes it okay for the pig or the fish or the cow or any other animal? If we have another choice, why would we exploit our animal relatives that we share this planet with? Let's talk about it. Somebody says you need better posture. So some of my group members are a little bit shorter than I am. So the phone is set up a little bit shorter. So I have to lean down to read your comments. So that's the primary reason you'll notice my posture. Somebody say, stop watch fantasy word salad. I'm not sure what that means. It kind of didn't make a lot of sense. Maybe leave another message in the chat. Hello, somebody says hi. Hello, Rolando. For anybody who's joined more recently, we are here in Portland, Oregon. We are at Pioneer Place Mall, and we're looking to have conversations with those in the chat, as well as everybody in person who's willing to come on camera, about animal liberation. Most folks here believe that humans should be liberated from systems of oppression. But should we expand our liberatory scope to also include our fellow earthlings who humans exploit and use as objects and resources? Would it be preferable to relate to other animals as individuals with bodily autonomy of their own? What do you think? Somebody says, I knew it had to be Portland. What? What about Portland? Leave another comment. Everybody who's here, keep double tapping that screen. Share the live if you can. I want to ask you to put a 1 in the chat if you're a vegan. Put a 1 in the chat if you're vegan. If you're an open-minded non-vegan, put a 2. And if you're a troll, put a 3. I want to get a sense of who's in the chat as well as to boost some engagement and get the algorithm moving. Somebody says you can't hunt your meat. What do you mean by that? If somebody has an alternative to shooting an animal in the head, if they can nourish themselves in some other way, why wouldn't we exercise our options to not be violent and not exploit other animals? What do you think? Hi, vegan engineer. I'm seeing some 1s, some 2s. Somebody says, why do you want to kill cows? That's a good question. Why would we kill them if we don't need to? If we have another option, what justifies treating them as objects to be exploited rather than individuals to respect? Somebody says, what about plant lives though? So plants aren't sentient in the same way that animals are. They don't suffer, they don't feel pain. They don't have a central nervous system to process that pain, nor a brain. So to further answer this question, I want to ask you, who would you prefer to put in a gas chamber? A stalk of broccoli or a stalk of celery, or a live bird? Which of these entities is going to gasp and scream and suffer? I think most of us know this. Oh wow, there's already a lot of people here, 144 people, wow. I want to ask everybody, keep double tapping that screen, keep sharing the live. For anybody curious, we're in Portland, Oregon. It's amazing to have so many folks here. I'm seeing some 2s in the chat. I want to ask those who are non-vegans and open-minded, the people who put 2s, I want to ask you, what is your justification for exploiting other animals in 2026 when we have another option? I want to start up this discussion, let's do it. Somebody says, I just ate a cat. Is that ethical? Is it ethical to kill cats and dogs when we don't need to? Or is that animal abuse? And is that something that we object to as a people? Somebody says, what's up? We are here in Portland, Oregon. We are having conversations with the chat as well as folks in public as well on the street about animal ethics. We're asking, is it ethical to use animals for their flesh or their secretions, or to put them in circuses or zoos or aquarium tanks when we don't need to? Is it fair to put them in a position that yourself would never want to be in? Somebody says, why won't you answer the questions? Okay, I'm looking at the chat now. There's almost 150 people in the room, so it's not that I'm ignoring your question. It's just that there's lots of people here. Somebody says, what's the alternative? So for a zoo or for an aquarium, you can watch a nature documentary where the animals are free and in their home habitat and where they're not exploited, rather than attending those places where the animals are put in cages or in tanks. For food, you can choose plant-only options at the grocery store or your farmer's market, or you can buy seeds and grow your own food. And within animal testing, you can purchase cruelty-free cosmetic products. So there's just alternatives in all of these realms, and we're asking, if we have a choice, if we can choose not to exploit our fellow animals that we share this planet with, why would we choose to continue? Why would we exploit them when we don't need to? Somebody says, why do people eat animals? There's a few reasons that come up. A lot of it is that it's normalized. We don't really get a choice to opt out as we're growing up. We start eating it before we have the chance to think about it. So that's part of the problem, and we're here to incite reflection with the public, to give them that opportunity to make an informed choice and to ponder this topic, for many of them, the first time. I'm going to hand off to you.
Yes.
Already got a lot of people here.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my gosh, that's because Cooper is awesome. So thank you all for being here. Make sure you share, like, and just interact. We're here in beautiful Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. I would like to know the spread that we got going on. So if you're vegan, put a 1. And if you're not vegan, put a 2. And I'll take a little look-see in here, see what's going on. Factory farming is evil, but regenerative farming is the way to go. Vegan and vegetarian farming kill everything from bugs, birds, and mammals. So actually, Kong, I urge you to go check out veganic farming. It's actually better for the environment and the animals and for us. So check out veganic farming. It's possible. It's just that most farmers aren't vegan. Let's see. Yeah, you can have a vegan version of chocolate-covered grasshoppers if you really need to eat bugs. Yeah, so veganism, I can see, okay, cool, we have a good spread. Veganism, real quick, is not against killing someone. We're against unavoidable exploitation. And so as a vegan, I don't want to demand someone be enslaved for me because I don't want to be enslaved for somebody. It's so expensive. It's not expensive, actually. There was an epic Oxford study done on this that you could save 16 to 30% on your grocery bill. Hi. So those that put a 2, since we have a pretty decent spread, those that put a 2, tell me, like, what are your obstacles? If you can keep it short, what is keeping you from living vegan? If animals are not meant to eat other animals, why do animals eat other animals without human-animal influence? Yeah, so other animals are surviving a harsh environment, right? They're living out in nature and they're doing what they have to in order to survive that harsh environment. Whereas we humans have options, right? We have grocery stores. We also have our morality system, so we're moral agents in our own morality. We know that it's complex. We know you need to weigh things out. And then we also have moral patients in our communities, those that, regardless of their understanding of morality, are still sentient and care about what happens to them. And moral agents have an obligation to moral patients who are vulnerable to them to not exploit them. So even though you might see moral patients doing immoral things, that doesn't give you a moral license to go do immoral things, right? Or to copy them. So it's just like saying a child is doing something immoral, and because that child does things immoral, you now have the right to do things that are immoral. It doesn't make sense. So if you know better, you should do better. You know, with great power comes great responsibility, right? Animals have options too. A snake doesn't just attack a bird. I think animals eat other animals without our influence because it's instinct. Yeah, that's what I just said. They're doing what they need to survive a situation. If those individuals, if we found out that they are moral agents, that they understand what they're doing and we can communicate with them, then yeah, I wouldn't have a problem talking to them about their choices. But that's just not reality. That's a Disney movie, you know? One day, though, we do have AI working on it right now. We're closer to communicating with them than you think. Like, they already know that cows have a language, blue whales have a language, many whales actually have a language. So, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get more.
Can I eat roadkill? Yeah, it's not about what you eat. It's about how you view someone. Do you view living beings as living, walking hot dogs? Or are they sentient beings, you know, persons? So if you see roadkill and you're like, oh, that looks delicious, that just tells me you saw them as a living hot dog before they were hit by a car or wherever.
So they don't have to look at it like you're kidding. I mean, like,
So animals are immoral. They can do immoral things, yeah, just like children. We're here in Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. So Portland. And we're here to talk to strangers about their morals and their values to see if they actually align their actions with their principles. Let's see. There are farmers with very high welfare and respect. I am one. Yeah, but there were also slave owners that had high welfare. They even would give their slaves an allowance and allow them to leave the premise to go purchase things and actually own things. But they were still slaves. They still had an owner. And that's what makes it immoral. No one has the rights over someone else's autonomy. And to birth someone into existence who you know would be dependent on you as an excuse to exploit them, you know, that's just immoral. That's like if I was to have children because I want to utilize child labor.
we know it's fine.
It's wrong because there's a victim. There's someone. I'm forcing my purpose onto them. Morals are nothing more than social constructs, hence why waste time on inherently meaningless stuff. Well, I'd argue that it's not meaningless because there's victims involved and it means everything to the victims. Every time we have a rights movement, of course it was annoying, it was in the way, and a waste of time to those that were benefiting from the oppression, right? I'm sure that men that were in power didn't care for women trying to fight for their rights. I'm sure people that were white didn't appreciate people that weren't white fighting for their rights because they found it annoying in their way, right? The oppressors are always benefiting from the oppression. The victims, it's worth their time, it's worth them. So yeah, you need to listen because you're too privileged. You need to do something. You know, you're the reason why they're there. Yeah, it's fine that you love flavors. Vegans don't go vegan because they don't like flavor. They go vegan because they don't want to support an atrocity to a whole group of individuals who care about what happens to themselves. Oh, hey, what's up, Jake? I see you. Fly Sensi. Always loving to see your comments. Vegan Engineer. What's up? Haven't been paying attention to your guys' names. Just been reading comments. This is a channel that we talk to strangers about their values and see if their actions actually align with their values. Speaking out for the rights is not obnoxious. Exactly, it's not. Make sure you're tapping, liking, sharing. Let's get some peeps in here to hear about veganism. So if you're in here, go ahead and tell me one more time because it doesn't seem like I'm finding any other responses. Put a 1 in the chat if you're vegan, put a 2 if you're not. Yeah, we're here in Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. And we might be getting a conversation here in a second. Awesome. You want to interview?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right. So, my name's Rebecca. What's your name?
My name's Richard.
Richard, nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you too.
So, do you think that the powerful should have the right to oppress the powerless or the more weak or different individuals?
It depends on who's got the power and what are you looking for. You know, who has power over you? You know, I'm not trying to sound too, but could you be more specific? Like,
Well, I mean, is oppression good in any way, shape, or form?
who's oppressed? Who's the oppressor?
Does it matter?
Yeah, because if you know who's oppressing you, you know, that's knowing half the battle. So
Okay.
just like a political movement,
Okay.
you know, you could choose parties or you could be the next one to, I guess, make a revolution. You know, it's all about your outlook. You could be the powerless, but just because you're powerless doesn't really mean you're powerless.
Okay. So, what
If you have a
about-
family and stuff and you're poor and you're getting oppressed, yeah, you're done. But I feel like if you're on your own, you can't really be too oppressed.
Do you? But okay. So oppression is prolonged and cruel treatment.
Cool treatment?
Yeah, prolonged and cruel treatment. Do
But-
you think that that's right for?
No,
for
that's
that to
not
happen?
right.
Okay. So we agree that oppression is not right.
Yeah, if
Okay.
somebody's up, so the oppressors doing the oppression, that's what you say? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, that's bad. If you got oppressor, yeah, you're I mean, good luck to you, but, you know, it's a tough one. Because you got to go mental battle, everything, you know?
Okay. So what about?
I'm the underdog type dude, you know? Like,
So
even
you
if I
like-
had a pressure, I would pray to whatever God and whatever powers that be that I leave the, you know, I feel like, hey, life's a risk sometimes, you know?
Okay. What about like animals that are born into the systems of oppression, like in slaughterhouses, or that are used for products or entertainment or science? How do you feel about them being oppressed?
An animal?
Yeah, because they can't speak up for themselves, right? They have no power.
Yeah, they got feelings too, right? If I go
Uh-huh.
punch a dog or a cat, they're gonna feel, they're like, ooh, or cry.
They're going to try and get away, right?
They got intuitions, damn near like us.
Well, they're sentient beings, so they have their own subjective
They're
experiences.
mammals too, right?
Some are.
Some are,
Yes, like cows are mammals.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it real.
Uh-huh.
I'm a meat eater.
Mm-hmm.
I eat beef. I mean, if I can, you know, times it's a little rough, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel bad. I don't try to put that much mind into it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because we got people getting oppressed and killed. So first is the people, you know, and, you know, they got to eat. That's my most important thing, the
Okay.
people, you know, not to like overstep your boundaries or like to conquer someone ruthlessly, but
What if I told you if there was a way to feed all the people that were hungry and to make people healthier, and to not hurt the animals? Would you be interested in that?
you could feed everybody.
You could feed, you could probably solve world hunger.
Really?
Oh, wow. Well, okay, the good thing is the visual, you might have lost some of the visual, but we've been recording the audio.
Okay, cool.
So the edit would just be this blackout moment maybe, but we still have it. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I don't even know why it does that.
And you have to hit the screen for it to read.
Yeah, I guess it says try again. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys, we're back. Where did we leave off at? Can anybody let me know where we stopped? Where did it drop out?
I went into a black void. I was playing a game.
Come into my web. Let's talk about ethics. Let's go. Hey, what's up, Marissa?
Hi, Martin. Hi, Lewis.
Yes. Green hearts. Those are okay to spam. You can spam green hearts all day.
We won't complain.
Yeah, we won't complain about that. Oh, Joey got out? I gotta watch that later.
Oh, dropped a short.
Oh, dropped a short? Joey's just dropped a short. So is it that he's out or is it Taron?
Yeah. Good question. Follow up. Somebody says, what is it you stand against?
We stand against the exploitation of other fellow sentient beings. Oh.
It's 200 people, like, from 2 to...
Oh, snap.
Confused. What
Oh,
is-
wow. Wow. Thank you guys for being here. We're here in beautiful Portland, Oregon, for those that just tuned in. We're in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. And we're actually getting a lot of good conversations. While Rebecca was having that beautiful conversation, we were having side conversations. So this is actually a hop in place right now. We're just talking to people about their values and seeing how they line up with their actions and seeing if, there are things that maybe they haven't realized that they're doing that are against their own values.
Hello, Nick. It's great to see you here in the chat.
Hey, what's up?
Missing you here today.
Yeah, we miss you, Nick. Grass Fed. Go check out Grass Fed. If you're not following Grass Fed Human, you need to be.
Oh, wow. 230 people here. We're here in Portland, Oregon at Pioneer Place Mall, having discussions with folks in the chat as well as folks in person.
Yeah.
And we're asking, should we relate to animals as objects to be exploited and used, or as individuals to be respected and with bodily autonomy of their own? So if you have some thoughts on that, share it in the chat. Everybody here, keep double tapping that screen. Share the live if you can.
Oh, I was born this way. That's why my teeth look like that.
Somebody says bacon is life, y'all. So do you think that getting pleasure from eating a piece of a pig, does that justify exploiting them, using them, and killing them when we have another option today, when it's completely needless? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so someone's flesh being delicious, does that now justify you exploiting them or using them to get to their flesh without their consent? I would argue no.
If we found out that a dog's flesh was quite tasty, would that justify violating their body, stealing their life from them? If not, what would be the distinction between a dog and a fish and a pig that would justify it for the fish and the pig, but not the dog? Somebody says you are an omnivore. So this just means that we have the capacity to eat plants and animals and be healthy, or we can eat plants only and be healthy. If we can choose to boycott the exploitation and violence towards our fellow earthlings, why wouldn't we? On what basis could we justify that violence and exploitation when we have another option? Let's hear it.
I don't think the chat over here is moving.
Somebody says, what about eggs? So eggs is at least as unjust as the flesh industries when we consider that these birds might live 5 or 10 years, but they're killed just 18 months into their life. That's one layer of cruelty. But another one is at the breeding level, all of the intersex and male birds, they're seen as completely disposable by the industry because they'll never lay eggs. So they're macerated, most of them, on the first day of life. They go into a big blender fully conscious. That's the male chicks. And then another layer of the injustice within eggs is that the females are selectively bred to push out an egg every single day. They have to use up all these nutrients in their body to push out an egg every single day for human consumption, when their ancestor would only lay about an egg every month.
Yeah.
So they've been selectively bred and genetically modified to suffer, and it's not fair. None of that is fair, and this is why vegans boycott eggs.
What do you guys think? Do you think that if you find out that your actions that are unnecessary are causing someone else harm or detriment, that you should change your actions? Let us know.
Somebody says, what's this about? We're here in Portland, Oregon. We're at Pioneer Place Mall, and we're asking the curious folks in the chat, as well as folks in person who are comfortable to come on camera, we're asking them about animal liberation. Most folks support humans being liberated from systems of oppression like sexism and racism, but do we extend our liberatory scope to also include our beyond human relatives that we share this planet with? Do other animals also deserve to be free from a system of objectification and exploitation? Let's hear your thoughts.
I'm going to quickly run over. We're here in Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. It's beautiful and sunny, and we're waiting to talk to some strangers about their values, see if they align their actions with such.
Everybody who's here, keep double tapping that screen, keep double tapping and sharing the live. Vegans put some green hearts. We've got a big audience here. The chat moves quick, so if you find your specific message isn't addressed, just leave it again. Somebody says you should talk about the climate effects of the beef industry. So we're here to talk about why the so-called beef industry is unethical from the perspective of cows. It is very true that it is incredibly detrimental to the environment for humans to farm other animals. But that's kind of a side effect. We consider the main problem to be that humans are seeing animals as objects to be used in the first place.
So, just going off of what Cooper just said, those that are talking about crop deaths, don't you think that if farmers started to value those individuals and respect their sentience, that they would change their methods on how they protect their crops? Like, that's why we're here. We're here to talk to everybody one person at a time, because that's how every rights movement goes forward.
Somebody says no because animals are not my relatives. So are you not an animal?
Yeah.
Do you think humans are not within the kingdom Animalia? If you do, I think you have a lot of science to argue against.
I see a comment about slave labor and the electronics that we're using. So when I purchase these electronics, I do look for refurbished and used. But even if you buy a brand new electronic, you're not demanding someone's enslavement. You're not demanding someone's exploitation. You're demanding electronic. Whereas when you purchase animal products, you're demanding that somebody be exploited for you when it's unnecessary, and you can avoid demanding that, really.
Somebody says animals eat animals, so animals might also commit infanticide in some instances. Would that be justified within human affairs for parents to kill their children just because it happens naturally? If not, it could be possible that it is natural to use other animals, but it's also unethical. Have you pondered that before?
Do you guys... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, somebody said, what is the alternative? So within entertainment, it's not attending the rodeo or the zoo or the aquarium and watching the nature documentary instead. Within the food realm, it's purchasing the plant option or growing your own plants or going to the farmer's market and buying plants there rather than purchasing animal flesh and secretions. Within animal testing, it's buying the cruelty-free cosmetics rather than those that are tested on our fellow animals.
Yeah.
So it's about making those type of swaps and asking ourselves, what would we want someone to do if we were in their position?
Yeah. So again, I saw someone calling me out for the microphone being new. The microphone itself is not new. I've had that for years, actually. The pink handle, the plastic and the foam, yes, that is new. But I guarantee it wasn't made with slave labor.
Somebody says gay voice. Do you have any arguments?
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Or do you just have ad hominems and
Yeah.
crying in the chat?
Yeah. Why does it matter what anybody sounds like? Are you that distractible that you can't focus on the message?
Somebody is spamming, do you believe in God? So I'm personally an atheist, but that's not actually what we're here to talk about today. I'm going to encourage the conversation to be centered around animal ethics and the question, is it ethical for humans to exploit other animals for their flesh, their secretions within entertainment, clothing, testing, when we have another option? When this violence, this exploitation is needless, how do we justify it? Let's hear it.
And, even if your religion said something about using animals, we know now that animals feel, that they're sentient, they care about what happens to themselves, and that we can thrive without using them. So regardless of what your religion says, you don't need to use them, and they care about what happens to themselves, so don't use them.
Wow, there's a lot of folks here. The chat's moving quick. Everybody keep double tapping that screen. Keep sharing the live.
Do you want to test the slow mode? I've never done it before.
It is moving quick.
I don't know how to do it.
For those who are curious, we are in Portland, Oregon. We're at Pioneer Place Mall, and we're opening up a discussion about animal ethics. What do you know about veganism, for instance? What does it mean to you? What would be your biggest personal obstacle to going vegan? Let's talk about it. Somebody's asking if vegans engage in consensual sex. We do, some of us. There are asexual vegans who choose not to have sex, but there are other vegans who do engage in consensual sex. Says most animals are meant to be eaten.
Okay.
On what basis? Who decides whether someone is meant to be eaten or supposed to be eaten? It seems like an outside external constraint being placed upon them that's made up and arbitrary.
Yes, mushrooms are vegan. Hey, if your parents are around, we can interview you. Oh, if your parents are around, we can interview you, but you have to be over 18. You're 18? Show me your ID. Yeah.
We got some kids.
No, I'm sorry. She has to be here.
Some says, how come tigers eat us then? Do you think it's a good thing when a human is eaten by a tiger? Or would you prefer that they were able to go home to their family that night?
Exactly.
I think it's a bad thing when people are eaten alive.
Yeah.
So if we can choose not to exploit somebody else and kill them, why wouldn't we? On what basis could we justify exploiting them when we didn't need to?
Yeah. She says vegans are dramatic?
Yeah, and I wouldn't shame the tiger per se, but I wouldn't think it's a good thing.
Right.
If the tiger has to kill to survive, that's a different situation from ours in Portland or in cities or adjacent or even rural to them, because we have other options. We can order beans and rice, we can go to the grocery store, we can grow our own food, we can go to the farmer's market. We have an abundance of options within food, entertainment, clothing, testing. On what basis would we not exercise those choices to stand in solidarity with our fellow animals?
Oh, we might have an interview.
Somebody says it's just nature. So just because something is natural, does that make it ethical? This is an important question to ask. If you had the opportunity to prevent an earthquake from happening and you knew it was going to cause all these humans to die, just because it's a natural event, does that make it good?
Oh, are you going to do an interview? Oh, yeah, I'll interview you.
Perfect.
Awesome. Let me put this down. And then I'll have you stand right there in that little X. Perfect. Oh, you got the toe shoes on. Oh, is there a bee? I did see them floating around earlier. Can you go away for a bit? Thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right. Yeah, definitely keep an eye out.
Okay.
I'm Anna. What's your name?
Hi, Anna. I'm Kaylin.
Kaylin, lovely to meet you. What brings you around this corner?
Just hanging out, exploring Portland. It's first time. Yeah.
So we're actually talking about the powerful versus the powerless.
Okay.
Do you think the powerful should have the right to oppress or mistreat the powerless?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I agree. What about when it comes to like the animals that we use for food, clothing, or entertainment? Would you agree that we humans are the powerful oppressing the powerless in that situation?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you know the word vegan?
Yes.
What do you understand it to mean?
Vegan?
Yeah.
That's let me think on that one.
Yeah,
a little
take a
bit.
second. It's not something that we always think about.
Right. I've never really thought about exactly what it means. I just know that it involves not eating or consuming anything made by any type of animal, or not made by, but that comes from any animal products, including even eggs, like.
Yeah, that's pretty close. So it actually comes from this ethical stance against the exploitation of others. So you're right on that we do avoid all of those things.
Yeah.
But it's because we recognize there's a victim involved, and we don't want to demand someone be enslaved or used for us. Does that resonate with your own principles?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in your mind, is there anything that we need from other animals that might justify what we do to them?
No, I think we could survive.
Yeah?
Pretty much just
Are you
fine
vegan?
without. I'm not.
No, you sound like one, so I'm like, I have to ask.
No, I'm not. But I
what
definitely think that we could survive without
you
harming animals. Yeah.
So I guess for you, what would be your next move now that we've talked about animals and how they feel and they care what happens to themselves? Do you think that you'll keep using them, or?
You know what? I've kind of explored the possibility of lowering my consumption of animal products. When you grow up and you're so used to consuming, I think
the nostalgia
on top of it, and the comfort. But I think that I've definitely considered, lowering my use of animal products.
Not using animal products at all?
At all.
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't count it out.
If I gave you a resource, would you be willing to check it out?
Absolutely. 1,000%.
I'm going to give you the card then. It just sounds like you're already right there. It might be
I
just
think it might
the
be
resources.
worth it. Yeah.
Would you be willing to watch like a 3-minute documentary on your own time?
Absolutely.
If you scan that little corner, or if you just go to that website, click on See What I Fund.
Okay.
And it actually just brings you right to the film.
Okay.
And just ask yourself, like, do I really want to keep giving my money? Because that's literally 99% of it. And even that high welfare farms, how do you justify taking life from someone who wanted to live, right?
And I'm such an empath. Like, all life matters.
I honestly feel like you probably do better with that Dominion documentary then, because that actually is the full film.
Really?
The 3-minute film is just clips, but I feel like you would probably benefit from watching the whole thing, just
I think
because
so, too.
there's a lot of corners that are kind of blind to us, and it covers everything. And you just sound, like you said, you sound empathetic.
Also, like, when you don't see the things being done, you don't really think about it. It's just like, oh, okay, like, I'll eat a chicken wing or a piece of catfish.
Exactly.
Or, But I think, these resources might actually get me to that point.
That's awesome. You can also watch this live if you go to our website.
Oh, cool.
And click on rewatch it.
Can I say hi?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of people.
Yes, we actually had a little bump today.
Wow.
So, you're catching us on a really good day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess I don't know. I'm so happy that you're like so open-minded.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just saying, if you ever want to reach out to us and like if you want to ever join us, because you sound like you're a really empathetic person, I'd love to have you out here. So
thank you so much, and thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
I mean,
thank you for being out here,
taking the time and the energy, and just exposing yourself to so many different things.
It's because I feel like there's more people like you, people that are honest, that don't want to hurt others, but haven't really thought about it.
Yeah, sometimes people are just ignorant to everything that goes into the consumption of animal products.
Yeah,
so.
I wish that someone had spoken to me because I found it by accident. So it was like I wanted to help others find this out sooner. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a pleasure.
Great. What was your name one more time?
I'm Kaylin.
Kaylin, Anna.
Yes, nice to
gosh.
meet you, Anna.
It was such a good conversation.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, y'all have a great day. See ya. Oh, I love that. That was fantastic, guys. All right. I am going to, Xavier, put you on a little timeout because that's just uncalled for right now. Thank you. All right. So, well, that was fantastic. That's honestly how most people should react, is like, oh, I just hadn't thought about it. I just need resources. There was actually someone earlier did the same thing. They're like, oh, I actually am looking into going vegan, but I don't know how. And so I just gave him a card and he was like, thank you. This is it. And then he left. So, I mean, these people are here. They walk around. There's honest people around. Yeah, so welcome in for those that have just come in. I am Vegan Stoner Lady. This is anti-animal use. And we're here in Portland, Oregon in front of the Pioneer Place Mall on a beautiful sunny Saturday, sunny Saturday. And it is just gorgeous out, and lots of smiles, lots of happy people, a lot of good opportunities to talk to people. So really excited to be here today. For you guys, I want to know, let's see what the spread is. If you're vegan, put a 1 in the chat. And if you're not vegan, put a 2 in the chat. If you're vegan, put a 1. And if you're not vegan, maybe curious, put a 2. Thank you. We're trying to have a good broadcast. It does look really packed in here. Welcome, everybody. Really appreciate it. Make sure you're tapping, liking, sharing, engaging. Want to get people in here. Okay. All right. So we got a spread.
Got some 2s.
Yeah. So those 2s that are curious and want to know what's up, can you let us know maybe what barriers you think you have? What's holding you back? I'd love to address it in the comments.
When you think about your own principles, what sounds most in alignment with who you are? Relating to animals as resources to exploit, as objects to exploit, or as individuals to respect? What sounds like it most aligns with who you are? And if you think we should relate to animals as individuals, do you think it's possible to do that when we objectify their bodies for their secretions or for their flesh, or we use them for entertainment or clothing? Let's talk about it.
I saw someone ask about why we're forcing our opinions on others. We're not forcing, we're just having conversations. But I would argue that if you're not vegan, you're forcing your opinion onto other animals. You're forcing knives into their throats. You're forcing separation of their families.
Somebody asked, is it okay for dogs to be selectively bred and forced to perform tasks to benefit humans? I don't think so. I don't think that's fair to them.
God told me I could. Well, regardless of what your religion says you can do, does that mean you should? Another interview? Do you want an interview? Okay, short, keep it short.
Okay, keep it short. All right, we'll have you right here.
Okay.
Are you okay with being live on YouTube?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine with me.
My name's Cooper. What's your name?
I'm Jimmy.
Nice to meet you, Jimmy. So our first question is, how do you feel about animals?
I love animals. I have a cat at home.
Okay.
It's amazing. His name's Gary.
Okay, so your time taking care of Gary and interacting with Gary, what does it teach you about Gary's feelings?
Oh, man. He's got a lot of feelings I don't understand.
It's complex.
I can't really communicate with him when he poops on the floor. I'm like,
Oh,
do that.
man.
But I can't just, I got to try to understand where he's coming from to some extent.
Yeah.
He's a lot different than me.
Would you say he's an individual, like he's different from other cats?
Yeah, definitely. He's different
Yeah.
from all the other cats I've ever had in my life, for sure.
Do you think there's a difference between, say, a cat and a pig in their ability to have feelings and to be individuals?
I don't know. Probably, most likely.
You think there is a difference in their ability? Or there isn't a difference?
Probably is. That's my best answer, is there probably is. I mean, not really much way
Right.
to know.
Do you think like there are some pigs who prefer like the company of other pigs, or maybe there's some humans which they prefer the company of maybe a human who isn't nice to them, they don't want to be around them, they want to be around humans who treat them nicely? Do you think they have a similar dynamic as conscious, sentient individuals compared to dogs or cats?
Probably not as much as humans, I would say. I think humans.
But compared to the dogs or cats?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that before.
But do you think they feel? Do you think, like, for instance, if I walked up to a pig and I kicked them, would they suffer?
Yeah.
Right. I wonder, do you think there's anything that humans need from other animals in 2026 for entertainment or food or clothing? Or do you think we have alternatives today?
Can you repeat the question? Can you rephrase it?
Yeah. So, like, when we live in 2026, we might have needed these things in the past, but I wonder, do you think we need to use animals today for food and clothing and entertainment? Or do we have another option?
Probably other options, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like with food.
Right.
Like, I disagree with, like, I don't really like animal cruelty. Like, in terms of like eating the things that have been in cages forever. Like, I think there are alternatives to that. I think in entertainment, like, yeah, there's definitely a lot of like alternatives.
Like if we could watch a nature documentary that captures, I don't know, maybe the dolphins in the wild versus go to the aquarium where they're trapped in a tank, do you think it's more fair for the dolphins to watch the nature documentary instead?
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think there's like a similar dynamic within food? Like, do you think we could choose not to use animals for food at the grocery store that you shop at?
Yeah, 100%.
What do you think stops you?
I just think it's so built into. I mean, I think there's political ramifications of that. Like, there's
It's kind of normalized. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, it's normalized. I think the meat and dairy industry is very powerful and has a lot of influence. I've read some books on that, and it's
Very powerful, yeah.
It's hard to kind of get out of that and get out of that rut, even though we know that it's not as good for our bodies, and it's also not as good for the environment with just butchering cows nonstop. Like, it's just not good for a lot of things.
I want to ask, do you think, when you think about and you're weighing it up, maybe you envision a scale, and on one end you have kind of a normalized habit, and on the other end there's the life of an animal. What do you prioritize more within your principles?
That's a good question. I feel like most.
What would you like to? What would you prefer to prioritize?
I would prefer to prioritize like others, other animals, rather than like my convenience or my normal living. It's really hard to do that, and it's really hard. I feel like it's really hard to do that for a lot of Americans.
Yeah. 'Cause we're not raised that way, are we?
No, absolutely not.
Have you heard of the term vegan, and if so, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I don't have a negative connotation with that in my mind. My mom is a dietitian and primarily eats vegan and got me on that, and like I really was for that because I'd made my body feel a lot better versus having like a beef stew for dinner where I just feel really heavy, and versus feeling more energized. I think it was a lot better for me in that way. I wasn't really doing that for like thinking about like animal cruelty or anything or kind of going against that. But I just was doing that because it was really good for my body. So I was vegan for about like a year.
So that's definitely part of it. Like, there's these health benefits, there's the environmental benefits.
Yeah.
We talk about it here precisely as about that principle against using other animals if we can, right? If I'm in the middle of the woods, it becomes complicated. It's like, what do I do if I don't have another option? But it's about that principle as we're defining it. Veganism, if we can not harm others, or if we can not exploit animals, we're asking the question, should we, if we have another option? Do you think when you hear that principle, do you think it lines up with your own when I say it out loud?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What would be your biggest personal obstacle to saying, I know how to eat mostly plant-based, I'm just going to start eating plant-based, and I'm also going to boycott, animals being used in zoos? What would stop you from saying, I'm just going to relate to animals as individuals from now on?
I think what would stop me is, I think, again, it's so built into, like we were talking about, it's so built into our core as, Americans that, like,
McDonald's.
Convenience is king. It's hard to think of animals in that way. And so I think that's automatically built into our DNA, unfortunately. And so, but I also think, humans, I think vastly, my personal opinion, humans are a little bit different than animals. Where like I think we have souls and they don't. Like we can think a little bit differently about the world around us, and they don't. That's my personal opinion, and so I think that puts humans.
That wouldn't justify like exploiting Gary, right? Just because Gary might not have a soul.
No, absolutely not. I don't think that means that I can just do whatever I want to animals.
I think it would justify like using them or killing them when we had another option.
No, absolutely not.
So, as somebody who's so open-minded about this, I just want to ask, if people like you and I don't make this change, who's going to do it?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Nobody else. I mean, yeah. I don't think anybody else. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's fair for another animal to be exploited or enter a slaughterhouse for you? Since you've reflected on it and it's not in alignment with who you are, do you think it's fair?
No.
Can I leave you with a resource card that links to some resources, and it gives people the power to be an informed consumer, and just so they can know if they want to opt out or not? Would you be open to that? Okay. All right. We got somebody a little upset with us on the side, but this is our card. You can go to antianimaluse.org, and there's a lot of resources on there about like plant-based recipes. There's some documentaries. If you want to see what happens in farms and slaughterhouses to be connected with that process and see if you want to continue contributing, you can go to this QR code right here. It links to a documentary called Dominion, and it just shows those standards in farms and slaughterhouses, and it gives us that choice, that ability to make that informed choice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know a lot about this side, so.
Do you have any final thoughts or questions that you want to ask?
No, I don't. I think this is thought-provoking in me, and appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Hello, everybody in the chat. Just had an interview with an open-minded person. Do you want to take over? Sure. Okay.
So I didn't hear Cooper's conversation, but it sounded like it was fairly open-minded there. What's going on in the chat? It's going really fast. We shouldn't be exploiting any animals whatsoever, and that's why we're out here today at the Pioneer Place, talking to people, about going vegan, not supporting science that uses animals, not supporting entertainment that uses animals. Go protest at KFC? Well, okay, so a lot of times we're actually across from different places that are serving up dead animals. So a place in Vancouver recently, I know there was a steakhouse across the street. So, yeah. And unfortunately, it creates a lot of disconnect, a lot of cognitive dissonance when people are, they have meat in their animal in their systems. We try to have a conversation with them. So, okay, so let's see. You've got a lot of trolls in there today. I saw Chip in there. Hello, Chip. Who else is in? If you're vegan, I want to see ones. If you're not vegan, put in a 2. Hi, Lewis. Intero. Yeah, the pink mics are great. And I got these colored mics, and they're a lot of fun. So, yeah. I see some good vegans in there. Yep. Thanks to all the mods. Yeah, the mics are cool. And thank you to the mods for keeping track of things and keeping people respectful. So, yeah, sure.
How y'all doing? Vegan life is the only way.
Yep.
I know the rock in the back. So I guess, I don't know if you just said this, but if you're vegan, put a 1 in the chat.
Yeah, I did, but
If
it's
you're
a
not
vegan.
vegan, put a 2. Okay. Did we have a decent spread? Just because I didn't see it.
Yeah, there was
It was a decent amount.
place,
Awesome.
but
Well,
just-
so
lot of non-vegans in there.
Okay. Did you already ask them what their reasons are? Just so I don't repeat them. Hey, Chip, I saw you. So those that put a 2 or that are curious, let us know in the chat, why aren't you vegan? Try to keep it short just so that we can try to address it. But we'll try to take our time, Rebecca and I. Yeah, but just because someone's flesh or their body or whatever comes off of them is resourceful for you, does that make it fair for you to use them without their consent?
Yeah.
When it's not, especially when it's not in their best interest.
Following a vegetarian diet isn't useful. You're still subjecting the animals to the same torture and slaughter that they're going to go through. They're still used against their consent.
I keep seeing tastes good. So does someone whose flesh tastes good, let's say my flesh tastes like 30% better than any other animal flesh, does that give you the right then to take my life, to eat my flesh? No.
Feminism has become a cancer. I just saw that fly by.
Feminism is just saying that we're all equal. It's
Yep.
saying that we should not treat people differently based off their gender.
Yeah. And if you're a feminist, you should definitely be vegan because the whole animal agriculture exploits all of the female animals. And the male animals, the poor male animals are just destroyed. They're destroyed as well, almost immediately. It's horrible.
It is. It's terrible. Like, can you imagine being one of those babies and your destiny is either to be offed immediately or to be raped to have other babies or just to be used for your flesh, your whatever comes off of you forever until you die, which will be a short death, or a short life, an early death. It goes so fast.
Yeah,
I have to jump over to the other one. We're all equal supposedly, but you have more rights than men. If you look at a guy you like, oh, he's cute, everyone says, oh, that's okay. Yeah, he's cute. If a guy looks, no, you're all good. He's a creep. Are you talking about just like because men shouldn't be making creepy comments to women and sometimes women make creepy comments to men? I agree that women shouldn't be creepy to people either. It's not about gender. It's about respecting others and their comforts. Yeah, so if you want to check out veganism, you can go to our website, antianimaluse.org, and it's actually got a lot of good resources. It has, click on See What I Fund, and it actually has Dominion right there. You can watch it and ask yourself, do you really want to give your money to these people?
I actually shared our website with a good friend of mine recently, and he visited the website and bravely watched a 3-minute video.
Oh, wow, nice.
If you're watching Bob, thank you.
That
it
is
means
awesome.
A lot.
Dubs in the chat for
Yeah,
Bob.
you tremendous. Just respect for you doing that. Yeah, so it takes a lot to face what we do to animals, and that's why a majority of people are not vegan.
Yeah.
Why because they just don't want to. They don't want to face the truth, and those poor animals are living that. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing to watch.
Yep, exactly. It's terrible. Once we see it, most people say, I don't want to support that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There's something to do about it.
Yep.
You can just stop buying them. Stop supporting that.
Exactly. Because they're only there because you're there. It's actually an inaction. You remove your demand, they'll stop producing as many of those individuals.
There's so many great vegan, foods, and a lot of foods are just naturally vegan that you already eat.
Yeah.
People don't know this.
Yeah, exactly. Like fruits, vegetables, like apples and pineapples, bananas, you have vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, carrots, kale. These are all vegan.
Yeah. A lot of French fries. You
potatoes,
like French fries, you like
fries.
junk food, potato chips. A lot of, you have to look at the label and make sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that you already eat that you like is vegan.
It's vegan. It's been vegan for a long time.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. That comment deserves that kind of a response.
Seriously.
Let me hit this too. And is this, oops, oh no. I hit like a ton of buttons. It is all messages. Just want to make sure. Okay, guys. So we're here in Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall, and we're just trying to ask you. We're waiting for a conversation with a stranger. Just ask them about their values. But while we're waiting, we also want to hear about you. We want to know why you're not vegan. So if you could, just let us know in the chat. A real quick, short statement. We'll try to address it. Killing insects kills birds. We're not advocating to kill insects. In fact, we're advocating to not exploit anybody.
Fascist. What's fascist is the animal agriculture system and how it's tied into capitalism.
Yes.
And how our government supports that.
Yes. And you're told that you have to use animals in order to be successful and have friends.
Yep.
When you don't, the science tells us otherwise. You can read that. Respect people or vegan. Okay. Yeah, so we're not here to disrespect non-vegans. We're actually here to talk to non-vegans that are just unaware of what they're supporting and also don't maybe know that they can stop supporting it. Because that's how I was. If someone had talked to me sooner, I would have stopped sooner. And so many more lives could have been spared.
I think the world that we live in today is more willing and to open up to those conversations. You know, years ago it was harder. When I was a teenager, it was not the greatest world. It wasn't anywhere where it's at now. And I also wish somebody would have talked to me sooner. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of poverty in the world. But you know what's crazy is that the animal ag industry is a big part of why we have so many people starving. The incentive is for a lot of these poorer countries to grow grains for the animals that we feed to people in the West. So if you go vegan, you're actually going to also impact large evil industries that exploit humans as well. So, you know, if you're against human exploitation, you should also live vegan.
Yeah.
Exactly. Chip, be strong, be smart, be vegan.
Yeah. Yeah. You can go through this world then knowing it's like a weight is lifted when you become vegan. It's hard to go around. We know everybody's partaking in this, you know, like evil nonsense, you know, but once you're vegan, you know, you can, it's like you don't have to, you know that you're not taking part in all that death.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing.
It really is.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I have a much clearer conscience for sure.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, smart people are vegan.
Yes.
Yep.
Only the well-fed society do have people like this lots of the time on their lunch break. Okay, so actually you're silencing the voices of people in all different areas of the world. If there's a society of people, I guarantee there are at least a small group that object to, you know, exploitation of animals, and probably even larger swath of people that claim to be against exploitation in general. So when you say that this is only a rich person thing, you're really silencing a lot of voices, and that's not fair. So it's more like talk to people one-on-one and ask them about their values instead of, you know, summarizing or assuming what everyone thinks. And it's also about you and your actions, regardless of other people, right? If you're not vegan, why not? If you have access to all these resources and you have options, why not live vegan? And even those that live in a place that lack resources, you know, it's still a mindset of if you see someone as a something. Not wrong, look it up. I don't know. So I understand that you get pleasure from it, but does your pleasure justify someone else experiencing suffering and losing everything? Exactly. Never going back from vegetarian, never going back from vegan. I was vegetarian before, never going back. Nice. I didn't know if I had permissions. That's awesome that I do. Because that's the other, it's awesome. Perfect. Yes, you can build muscle using plants. there are a lot of gold medal Olympians. There are bodybuilders, right? There are marathon runners, triathletes, I think. I forgot what they're called, when they do the 3 different events. Long distance cyclists. What's the...
Running.
No, I was thinking of the car, the way they... Oh my gosh. NASCAR.
They go around in circles.
They go in circles. Another left turn.
And they crash.
Exactly.
No.
So Lewis Hamilton, he's vegan, and he's like one of the top racers.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't diss people.
Oh no, you're fine. Everybody has their preference on a sport or whatever their leisure time thing is.
Yeah.
So yeah, no hate.
No
Just
hate. Props for being vegan. Thank you.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting other individuals, exploiting them.
Exactly. And
Right,
honestly,
yeah.
if we steel man it, you're like, the only way for me to be strong and amazing is to use animals. Would that really justify taking someone's everything? Because what if I could get that from using you? Would you feel that it's okay for me to exploit you then? Would you say, yes, that's fair? No. You would say, I want to live. I'm using my body. Hey, we're doing interviews. You want to be interviewed? No? All right. I held my sign upside down.
You got to think about what kind of world you want to live into. Do you want to promote a world of normalized violence, or do you want a peaceful world where you don't have to, see innocent beings being slaughtered and have it normalized? Why would you want a world of violence over a world of peace?
I think it's called the veil theory. What you just said reminded me of it, where it's like you're standing there with the creator and they're asking you about making a fair world, and it's like, do you make a world that's only fair for one species? Like, you don't know what species you're going to be when you get to the planet, but you get to decide how this world is. Do you want it to be fair for everybody, or do you want to take that chance to be someone who is the one that gets used and exploited without consent considered or best interests considered, right? So when we think about it that way, it's like, oh, well, then we can live that way. We can, with our actions, when we have options, we can use that voice for the better of whoever's being exploited. We cannot demand their enslavement. That's huge.
Well, and the more we do that, the more that will become normalized. And what a wonderful world that would be.
Exactly. Don't we want a
Yeah.
more fair world for everyone?
Yeah.
Like, we can get everything we need without exploitation. And honestly, it does feel that when we exploit animals, we're giving ourselves the permission to harmfully, arbitrarily discriminate against somebody. And that just leads to other people causing other trouble against fellow humans even.
Yeah.
And we see this pattern when we see children or people using animals in a like they're harming them for literal joy. That's a red flag, because they might move on to humans, right? So why wouldn't we think the same when we eat other animals? That it's like we're making a slippery slope that it's okay to harmfully discriminate.
Yeah,
Use
that's
arbitrary traits.
It's actually proven in psychology that is the road to psychopathy. So, we're training people to be psychopaths living among us. So do you want to have a world where we're creating Jeffrey Dahmers?
Yeah.
I don't think so. That's scary.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
You want to jump in? Sure.
Hello to the chat. I'm Enigma. Hi, that chip guy. I don't know how recently you've been reminded, but for those who are curious, we are here in Portland, Oregon. We're at Pioneer Place Mall. We're having conversations about animals and justice. Is it within a framework of justice to treat animals as objects to be used and exploited rather than individuals to respect? Let's start up a conversation. Everybody who's here, keep double tapping that screen. Share the live if you can. It's a beautiful day in Portland, Oregon. Chat's moving quick. Somebody says, I love meat. So does the pleasure that you get, does the satisfaction you get from consuming a piece of an animal, does that justify using them and killing them and all the violence necessary to produce that flesh and put it on your plate? Let me know. Hi, that chip guy. I said hi to you before. Say free Palestine. I'll absolutely say free Palestine. Free Palestine. 100 times over. Somebody says nose is huge. So I'm here to start up a critical discussion about animal ethics. I'm not here to field ad hominem attacks. If you have a justification for exploiting other animals and treating them as objects to be used rather than individuals to respect, I would like to have that conversation with you. Somebody says, yeah, free Palestine. Absolutely. All oppression is interconnected, and we believe in collective liberation here at Total Liberation Now, and at Anti-Animal Use as well. Somebody says animal ethics is interesting while literally exploiting them yourselves. How have I exploited somebody? Let's hear it. I'm not a capitalist, and I boycott the exploitation of our fellow animals within food, clothing, entertainment, testing. If I've done that, how am I exploiting somebody?
This person thinks that B12, fortified with B12 would be too expensive.
You can only get B12 through 4 to 5 foods on a plant-based diet. That's not true. You can also just take a monthly multivitamin. And if you're concerned about getting your B12 through a supplement, something that is important to remember is that the animals you consume, whose flesh contains B12, it contains that. The animal flesh has B12 in it because those animals too were supplemented with B12. So we're using animals as the middleman for our supplement when we could just take it directly ourselves. And if you're worried about affordability, we can look at Oxford's study that demonstrated that we can save up to 30% on our grocery bills if we focus on a whole foods plant-only diet, which includes foods like potatoes, rice, beans, grains, local fruit, veg. Somebody says, I'm an omnivore, so we're not necessarily talking about what is right now or what the current state of the world is, or even your personal habits, but we're talking about what should be in the future. Is it preferable to relate to our fellow Earthlings as individuals rather than resources to exploit? Let's talk about it. Is it fair to pay for a cow to be chopped up when we could instead pick up a block of tofu or a bag of beans or some lentils or a mock meat instead? When we have an alternative, is it fair from the animal's perspective to use them and kill them? Let's talk about it. I'm not necessarily here to argue, but I'm here to incite reflection and open up this conversation with you. Somebody says it's not fair. I agree with you. Somebody says stop eating meat, start looking like a goblin. I'm not sure what that means. I think you're trying to do another ad hominem attack, which I interpret as a confession that you don't have any substantive arguments. So just keep that in mind. That's how that's taken.
Animals don't matter.
Somebody says animals don't matter. Have you forgotten that humans are animals too? So you don't think humans matter either? You don't believe in human rights and human liberation? If we can't reach you in that sense, then we'll just move on. Somebody says, is life fair? No, there are many unfair parts of life, but should we seek to minimize them? If we have an option not to contribute to somebody being treated unfairly, why wouldn't we? On what basis would we justify treating somebody unfairly when we had another option? Let's talk about it. Somebody says gay, another very insightful comment from the chat. Somebody says, let's see, it's moving quickly. There's a lot of people here. If you find your message not addressed, please do paste it again in the chat so that I can have a chance at seeing it again. Somebody says, can I eat chicken? So we're not necessarily talking about what you could do or what is right now, but what we should do. We're asking, should we objectify chickens and treat them as resources to be used rather than individuals to be respected? We're asking, should we kill the chicken when we don't need to? Could somebody justify killing a dog when they didn't need to? If it's not okay for the dog, what makes it okay for the chicken? Let's have this discussion. Everybody who's here and is curious, we're here in Portland, Oregon at Pioneer Place Mall. It's a beautiful day here. It's sunny. We're looking to have conversations with the chat and with folks in person about animal ethics. Is it ethical to exploit our fellow animals when we have another option, when we don't need to? Everybody who's here, keep double tapping that screen. Share the live if you can as well.
Somebody keeps asking about chicken. I don't know if it's the same person.
Somebody
please
says,
don't eat chicken. And please try to look at it in a different way as trying to figure out what you can and can't eat. Think about the animals
yeah,
and why you don't want to exploit them.
yeah, consider their perspective. What would they want? If you were in their position, if somebody was more powerful than you and they were going to exploit you and use you for your body, what would you want to happen? Thank you to all the vegans and the mods here. It's important to keep this chat somewhat free of bigotry. Not necessarily here to argue, but to engage the chat, to talk to y'all and start up a conversation around animal liberation. Most folks support human liberation movements against racism and patriarchy and so forth. Should we extend our liberatory scope to also include the oppression of our fellow Earthlings when they are objectified and treated as resources to use? Should we also oppose that if we seek consistency? Let's hear it.
Michael Fassbender asks, why do I want chemical-made food over a natural food source? A lot of vegan food is natural. Beans are natural, rice is natural, wheat is natural, lettuce is natural, tomatoes are natural, potatoes are natural.
Yeah, you can boycott all of the processed vegan mock meats if you want. You can just consume the plants directly, like Pam was saying. There's no requirement within a vegan ethic to consume processed plant products. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Wow, this is going so fast.
Somebody says God gave us beef. What do you mean by that? Does he require you to exploit cows and to eat their flesh? Or is that an option that you have within your religion? As far as I know, Christianity doesn't demand Christians to exploit and kill animals. It's an option available to them, much like non-religious folks. So if it's an option for you and you don't need to contribute to animals being exploited and killed for you, on what basis would you continue? How could you justify continuing to exploit them when you didn't need to? Somebody says, do y'all eat fish? So fish are also sentient. What would distinguish a fish from a bird, for instance, that makes it okay to exploit and kill the fish but not the bird?
Yeah. We're going to do an interview. Does anybody want to interview? Just me? Okay, I'll interview. I'll put that there. Cool. So I'll have you step in that box right there. My name's Anna. What's yours?
I'm Eleanor.
Eleanor. Lovely to meet you, Eleanor.
Nice to meet you as well.
What brings you out here?
I've just been walking around the city all day, pretty much. I went to the farmer's market, then I pretty much walked all the way back there, and now I'm going to the waterfront.
I love it. What a good day. Oh my
Absolutely,
God. So many good things. Okay. So I'll get to it so you can get on your way. I don't have a sign to point at, but Pam, can I point at your sign? Do you think the powerful should have the right to oppress the powerless? Thank you, Pam.
No, I don't think so. I think it really depends, and it's really nuanced and everything too, because it could be pretty vague, and but I don't want powerful people taking advantage of powerless people. That's never a good thing. But I guess in the workplace, it makes a little bit of a difference too, because there is seniority and differences. So
we're not really saying so much that there shouldn't be power, being powerful. It's more do you think those that do have some kind of advantage should have the right to use against others that don't have the advantage? But you already said no.
Yeah, no.
So what do you think about when it comes to the animals that we use oh no, you dropped something.
Oh, oops.
No, you're all good.
I got from somebody down the road.
Oh, how sweet. I love that there's this, Portland's full of that kind of here's free art. I love it. What do you think about the animals that we use for food, clothing, entertainment, like the circus or the zoo? Would you agree that we're oppressing the powerless in that situation, that we're the powerful?
Yeah, I guess I never really thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I don't typically go to zoos all that often. I don't know, it's not really my thing, but I think in certain times with zoos, for example, some of the animals are not technically fit to be out in the wild. So in certain cases, can be good because they're keeping some animals in quote unquote captivity, but it's potentially for their own good, because if they go out into the wild, they might get themselves hurt or something like that. And that's why we have zookeepers and things like that. So I don't know.
I can understand rehabilitation. Zoos often will do this thing where they'll breed the individuals because they like to have a full zoo, because a full zoo attracts more people. Do you think that if they're doing it for that purpose, for your entertainment, do you think that that's right?
No. Yeah. That's essentially exploitation.
Yeah, exactly.
In a different form. It's literally what it says on here.
Yeah. No, but that's exactly what. So have you heard the word vegan before? What do you understand it to mean?
It's it's more than just I think it's more like a lifestyle than just eating. It's nothing related to animals. It's all pretty much. I don't want to say I was gonna say PETA, but not really.
No, PETA does fight for some animal rights, but veganism is this. Sorry, it's just so loud. I want you to be able, as long as you me.
So you're screaming into the mic.
I know, right? The audience definitely can hear us.
I'm literally not even in front.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't even paying attention. I'm so sorry. I'll keep an eye out so you stay in there.
I wasn't paying attention either.
I know, I got into the conversation.
Yeah.
So veganism is this ethical stance against the exploitation of others. So I just don't want to demand someone else be enslaved for me, because I don't want to be enslaved for someone else.
Yeah.
Does that sound like it aligns with your own principles, your own ideals?
Could you repeat that? Like,
Yeah, I'm sorry. So basically, veganism is not demanding someone else's exploitation.
Okay.
If I can avoid demanding someone be enslaved or used unfairly for me, I avoid doing that. Does that align with your own principles?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me think, like, because I try to be, like, vegetarian mostly. I do eat meat on occasion, but if I'm, like, cooking at home, it's definitely, like, I try to be as vegetarian as possible.
Yeah.
So it's, like, but I'd say that's also more, like, a personal preference rather than, like, I've never really thought of, like, in food that way. I guess it's just, like, kind of, like, an interesting conversation. Never really thought of things.
Why do you think, I'll let you go soon, but why do you think someone who's vegan would not want to exploit animals? Like, what might be behind that, do you think?
I mean, animals are the equivalent of people. Like,
they feel.
they're like beings. They're sentient beings. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if sentience.
No, they are actually. There is evidence for that. There's
Okay.
the New York Declaration of Consciousness and the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness that go over thousands of studies, and they found that the animals that have a brain and a central nervous system are most likely sentient. They care about what's going to happen to them.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense because like, I mean, I grew up with like a cat, and like I really love birds and things like that, like crows.
Yeah.
I mean, I see crows all the time. Another one thing I want to do in life. This is completely unrelated, but I want to befriend a crow at some point in my life.
Yes,
Like
there's
that would be.
a lot of them around,
Yes,
and they
I know.
remember your face.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I bought like bird seed and like nuts and things like that to like feed. I haven't successfully done it yet. Maybe.
But you want to communicate, I'm your friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I just want to know for you, does this change anything? Do you think moving forward that you're going to continue to use animals, or could I give you a resource that can help you maybe not?
I mean, I'll definitely take a resource. I think it's like there's a lot of reasons that some people might. Yeah, I already have one of these. Like one thing that also might stop people from like potentially looking into veganism too is like economical conditions, because like it's a lot more cost effective to buy like meat products, and like some people who are more like disenfranchised, it's might be harder for them to do so. So if like it's really hard because like not everybody likes like I guess quote unquote vegan foods and things like that. So like getting that more mainstream and like keeping the cost down to like get other people in is like a little bit more difficult. I don't know. I'm like kind of going like off the
You're
rails
hitting
here.
on a point that's important. A lot of people, that's huge, right? Especially recently with everything going up in price. So we've actually provided on here, this is a checklist on everything you need on a whole food plant-based diet. And whole foods are going to be the cheapest things in the store, like the rice, the beans, etc. But I understand like the fun foods can be a little more expensive, like the Beyond Burgers or the Impossibles. Those ones can be expensive. And we also have on the front, so for specifically Portland, the Food Not Bombs, which I do think they do have a national thing, but we have a brand, or excuse me, a chapter over here, and they actually give away free vegan groceries twice a week, and they also have meals, which is on the front of that card. So we're trying to get everybody, but we understand necessity. But when it's interesting though, I feel like a lot of us just assume that it's really expensive because I can't, other than like those Beyond Burgers and maybe the like sausages and such, I can't honestly think of anything that's too expensive. So, but I encourage you to check that out.
Yeah, I think so too, because like the like vegetables are like more inexpensive, and like you could like just do that with like all your cooking.
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't know.
And there's these simple recipes too. Like there's people on YouTube like a cheap lazy vegan. She makes cheap meals that are super cheap, really easy and simple. I mean, it's all in the name clearly, but there's a lot of people out there that really want to support us all to live vegan. The community is really big. Something else on that card, if you decide that you want to go vegan, there's a group called 10 Weeks to Vegan. And what's nice is they just put you in a group with people that are also trying to figure out, they want to be vegan, but they're still going over obstacles and want to have just somebody to talk to. So if you ever want to, that's on there. Could I ask you one last ask? Would you be willing to watch a 3-minute documentary on your own?
Sure, I guess.
It's on that same card on the front. Click on See What I Fund, and it's 3 minutes. Just ask yourself, do you want to give your money to those people?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't think so. Like I learned a lot today. Honestly.
Yeah, I
So
really
that's kind
appreciate
of cool.
you taking the time to talk
yeah,
to me.
absolutely.
Remind me your name one more time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm Eleanor.
Eleanor, I'm Anna.
Anna.
I really enjoyed talking to you,
Yeah, same
Eleanor.
here.
Like I said, you can rewatch the live too. I think we had a good conversation, so
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
welcome to like.
What's the channel? You said you're streaming on YouTube.
Yeah.
What's the channel?
Anti-animal use.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it should be.
literally-
It should be.
That's
Yeah, it's just
literally-
anti-animal
okay,
use. if you look it up on YouTube, but if you go to our website, theantianimalies.org, it's at the top, says we're live. Takes you right to it.
No, fair enough. Cool.
Yeah, awesome.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Eleanor. I really appreciate you talking to me.
Thank you, man. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for stopping by. And if you want to come back and ask any questions, you're welcome to come talk
absolutely.
to us. So, yeah. Dubs in the chat for Eleanor. See ya. Oh, wow. That was great. What a great conversation. I really appreciate open-minded people. I think it's the sunshine. I think the sunshine's really just making everybody all good moods. I love it.
Hi, you tops.
Hey, you tops.
Hi, Jason Goops.
Yes, Jason. We were talking about your name and how we keep, mispronouncing your name. I hope you're not too tired of it. But, you troll us, so I guess it's fair. Thanks, Chip. Appreciate it.
Somebody says vegan activism is an attack on the poorest. What do you mean? What does vegan mean to you? Here we define veganism as a principle against exploiting others when we have that option. What part about that is anti-poor? And what part about a plant-only whole foods diet is unaffordable? If we look at the actual studies and evidence on this, Oxford University has told us that we can save up to 30% on our grocery bill if we eat whole foods plant-based. That includes foods like potatoes, rice, grains, local fruit, veg, nuts, seeds, tofu.
Yay! Yeah. Do you want an interview? Anybody want to interview? Okay. I was gonna say.
Okay.
I thought I was gonna jump right in.
Okay, if you could step over here. So my name's Rebecca. What's your name?
My name's Barakat.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, do you think that the powerful should have the right to oppress the powerless or the weak or different individual?
No, I don't think so. That's not fair.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good if we're being oppressed, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to do that to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna wait till the train goes by because I can't hear. I know everybody else can hear, but I can't hear. Okay. So we're on the same page right now. We believe that oppression is not good. So what about when it comes to animals? Do you think that animals, because they are oppressed in systems that exploit them for food right now? We look at slaughterhouses, animals are raised for food, or they're raised for products, their entertainment or science. What do you think about that?
That's not helpful to no one. Every living organism have rights, so animals should not be participate in those kind of things. And I am strongly I'm on the side of animals, so this cannot be happen to animals. So that's all.
Are you vegan?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah.
So what keeps you from being vegan all the time? Because you sound like you understand animals and their sentience very well and that we shouldn't oppress them.
Yeah, but what is the question? What is the question?
You're a vegetarian?
Yeah, I'm vegetarian. What's your question? What about that?
Okay. So are you aware that animals still go through the same things even if you're vegetarian because their bodies are used for dairy, for eggs?
Yeah, I said I oppose that.
Then they go through the same systems. They're no different than any of the animals that are slaughtered if you're like a full animal eater. You know what I mean? So what keeps you from not making that jump to veganism?
That's not. I don't have anything to do with animals, something like that. I am vegan for my health because I want to eat healthy. That keeps my body in shape, something like that. I want to live average maybe over 90 years in this world, so that's why I'm vegan for.
Oh, so you're vegan all the time?
You can say that. Maybe sometimes I'm not always vegan, but I'm trying.
Okay. So, but you're doing it mainly for your health, you said? The health aspect?
Yeah. For my health aspect, yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I do it. I think it's a great side effect of being vegan. Okay, now earlier we talked about oppression.
Yeah.
So you said that you were against oppression.
Against oppression.
But when you use animals, you're oppressing them.
Yeah.
So there's an inconsistency in what.
I'm not using animals for anything right now.
But-
I don't have any dog, I don't have any cat, I don't eat those things.
But you said you're not vegan all the time.
Yeah, I eat beef sometimes.
Yeah, so you're not vegan.
Not always, I said that also, not always. I said that.
So why do you still consume animal then?
For my health aspect, I'm not thinking about I'm hurting animals, something like that. For my health, it's good to get nutrients from beef, something like that. So for that side, I'm eating like beef sometimes, egg sometimes, but I'm not thinking about oppressing those animals. Yeah, that's my side.
So, but if you do think about that you are contributing to their oppression by eating their bodies sometimes, how does that make you feel?
That makes me feel unhappy. When you say those things, it will question my doing is it right, I'm doing is it wrong. So maybe in the future I will be 100% vegan.
I appreciate that. What if I told you you could get all of the nutrients and amino acids that you needed without using animals?
If you give me facts, if you give me a sample, if you give me something.
I can give you some resources. There's been actually some studies done. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics has proven that being vegan is great for people of all ages, and you know it adds years to our life.
Yeah.
And consuming beef, you know, especially contributes to heart disease or cancer. So even meat that is so quote unquote grass fed or like organic.
Yeah, organic.
Vegan processed food is still healthier than eating that type of animal meat, which is insane when you think about it, because a lot of people, when they think of processed food, they're like, oh, it's not good for you. But, you know, with veganism, it's like you can choose. Like, you know, if you want to have like a vegan burger, like there's like Beyond Burger or different types of meat imitations. Like you can eat that and you can still be healthier than, you know, eating animal. But anyways, I'm going to give you some resources here. This is our card. We're antianimaluse.org, and on our website we have some information, but you can go to nutritionfacts.org, and that's got a lot of scientifically proven research on there that supports vegan lifestyle. 10 weeks to vegan is a challenge. It doesn't seem like you need it. You're almost there. Like I'm really hopeful for you. And on the back, we have the vegan Dailey Dozen. If you get all of these in your food intake in a day, you're good. Which is actually a lot of food, like to eat. So it's wow, that guy is really loud down there. It's actually like an abundance of food that you'll find. So, but that should help you. Okay. So, how many? Let me ask you one more question. How many more animals do you want to exploit or oppress for you? Because you said you're still eating meat, and every time you eat meat, you exploit and oppress them. How many more do you think should go through that?
It's a little bit hard question. Right now, I'm not capable of answering this question for you, to tell you the truth. If I said some, if I mention some numbers, if I mention I will do this, I will do that, I will be lying. So, what I'm trying to say right now is I'm trying my best to be vegan right now.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your honesty. And I understand where you're coming from. I want you to think about being consistent with your values, you know, and being an example to other people. Because I think you're already a great example, but I can imagine you being an even better example, you know, being completely vegan. And if you want, you're welcome to come back. can email us. We'll be around Portland. You can check us out online.
I don't know why it would do that.
I'm breaking the...
Oh, it came back. Okay, we're back. Oh my gosh. How long were you guys out for? Oh my gosh. That was so sad. Stream buffering. No. Okay, we're back. Good. Okay, it looks like it was short. Oh no. 5 seconds? Okay. It was only 5 seconds.
Okay,
and like I said, it's still recorded. Oh my gosh. Well, so what's nice about having this microphone that I do have, I got the Wireless Pro a little while, or it's like years ago now. But anyway, it has an internal recorder. Whoa. It has an internal recorder in it. So like, even if the live goes down, when we repost the videos, we can put the audio in there. This guy rocking down there. So how y'all doing? I don't know if it was already said, we're here in Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. And I would love to know why you're not vegan. Let's get an idea of who's in here. If you're not vegan, please put a 1 in the chat. And if you are vegan, put a 1 in the chat. Oh, gotcha. If you're vegan, put a 1 in the chat. If you're not vegan but curious, put a 2. And we'll go from there. I am curious about those that are curious. All right, definitely got a lot of vegans. Okay, a couple people don't know how to follow instructions. Yes, we can talk about crop deaths. Okay, so religion and crop deaths. Okay, so I see you, Michael. I got it. Okay, so for crop deaths, if you're trying to say that we should be concerned about the animals that are being harmed in the fields, first off, I'll let you know, not a lot of them are harmed in the fields. They actually run away from the machines, the combines, whatever. They're very smart. They know to avoid harm. But those that are, they actually find that it was a study done on field mice, and they had little collars on them, and they found that they actually just ran out of the way of the machines. What got them was predation. And if we didn't have farmland there'd be wildland. So we're not sure if predation wouldn't happen, right, if that wasn't farmland. So it's not that we're creating harm, it's that it's almost unavoidable because these individuals are going to take up space, they're going to go somewhere. But we can do better with our crop farming. We can actually grow crops in a manner that has no crop deaths. But we have to have the people that are growing the crops have the right morals, right, in order to implement, or we need to have at least a majority or a good size movement in order to make change in industry. So we're here talking to people one-on-one. And eventually we'll talk to farmers, right, as they approach the table and want to talk to us about fairness. And as more and more farmers become vegan, they'll implement their principles in their work. So we can grow vertically, we can grow indoors, there's a lot of options. Combines don't hurt you. I've seen my neighbor intentionally get run over. Yeah, exactly. So, okay. Pam is strong, man. She goes after the wild ones. I'll tell you that. Pam is having a side conversation. Can either be vegan or violent. Exactly. So for crop deaths, like I said, we can improve that. And then religion, regardless of what your religion says, animals feel, and we know they feel. We have evidence for it. So if we know they feel and we don't need to use them, like what justifies putting anyone through those systems?
Most gods profess values of love and compassion. Does it sound loving or compassionate to use animals as objects to exploit them for their bodies when we have another choice?
Just think on that. Okay.
So you can't get demonetized. You gotta make
Have you stand over here. Hi, I'm Anna. What's your name?
Mikey.
Mikey, lovely to meet you. We're live on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay,
She told
just want to
me.
make sure. Cool. So we're. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I gotta watch my profanity. Can't.
Oh, I mean, we're on YouTube. They're a little more loose with that. So I just want to ask you, what do you think about the powerful versus the powerless? Do you think the powerful should have the right to oppress the powerless?
A small man can cast a very large shadow. Because like in reality, they're not very powerful. They're a bunch of like very, they have technology at their, at their hands, all the money in the world. But at the same time, there's still more of us than there are. I can hope.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I don't even know anymore. It's like I look around, I'm like, how many dudes around me actually normal? How many are weirdos?
Yeah.
And
Also, do you agree then that somebody who has an advantage doesn't have the right to oppress or use someone that is powerless? Oh no, that one's fine. We're good. Yeah, thank you.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. Do you think that just because a parent is in the position of power over a child, that they have the right to oppress or treat unfairly a
Well,
child?
no, because you can be a shitty parent. Like,
Yeah,
they're like most people got no right trying to be a parent.
I hear you.
People be talking about having kids at 20.
I know.
I'm like, yo, you're not even like out of puberty yet, yo. And they're like, yeah, I'm gonna get married, and it's like I haven't even lived with this person for a year, let alone the rest of my life. And they're like, there's a bunch of unrealistic expectations people set for themselves, and then they're like, it didn't work.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, come on, bro.
Yeah, you got to live your life the way that you feel best, and as long as you're not harming others, right?
Yeah, and it's like,
Not for others. Like, that sounds like people that are like what you're describing. They're living a life that has been like marked out for them. Like they should do X, Y, Z.
a lot of people just look at what movies say, and they're like, oh, this is how I want to do my wedding, this, that, and the other. And that's not like everybody. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like.
So when it comes to that dynamic between powerful and powerless, what do you think about when it comes to the animals that we use for food, clothing, entertainment?
It's hella messed up. Like, and if you don't acknowledge that, like I acknowledge that, and I still consume meat, but I'm not like, oh, I'm a patriot, I'm a saint for knowing that. Like, I still make that decision because I'm like, we already waste 50% of our food, and it's like I was talking to my dad about hunting yesterday, and I was like, with how much food we already waste, like I wouldn't even let people hunt, just because it's like unnecessary until we figure
you're like
out.
adding to it.
And it's like, in my opinion, humans been raping and pillaging the earth, especially the past 200 years. You see like bug biomass decreasing by 70% in the past, like, I don't even know how many years, but it ain't looking good. Fish, like aquatic biomass and all that's shrinking down. We got more people than trees probably at this point, and that don't make a lot of sense to me when you got more people than like, other inhabitants, and everyone's like, everyone deserves to live, and it's like, I think there should be a limit, and it's not because that's right, but that's just because like we got to keep it fair for everything else on Earth.
So here's some fun information that actually might help you feel a little better. So we could feed our current population, everybody, and then some. If we stopped farming and enslaving other animals.
Well, yeah, and each other. If we didn't farm and enslave each other,
They actually did studies on this. If we stopped farming animals, because we have to grow their food. So if we stop raising and enslaving animals, we could actually feed over the population.
So long, like animal populations would have a hard time readapting because, like, cows, I'm guessing, weren't always, like, they're not the dumbest creatures on Earth, but how many of them have the ability, especially in the pastures they're in and that they've been bred in for generations, they don't have the capacity to go back, and it's like irreparably damaged to something.
You're totally right.
And it could, like, over time, be redeveloped.
Sure.
But it's like, that takes time and dedication, which has not been shown by the people.
If we actually just stop breeding them, because they're artificially inflated, it's because we're making them
mate. The trees. It's like the tree farms in Oregon. It's all artificial. It's just for profit. It's not for the animals' benefit. It's for money. It's not even for the people.
Do you think that if we discover that something that we're doing is causing mass destruction and also someone's enslavement, and we can change, do you think that we should change?
I mean, I feel like the obvious answer is yes, but anytime you throw in like money, people are like, well, it's like, think about it. The whole world normalized the Atlantic slave trade. Everyone was like, yo, we can just come over here, put people on a boat and make them do whatever we want. Yep. And the whole world was like, all right. Yep. And no one, and that's like, it was a business.
So how did we stop that?
I really don't know.
We advocated.
It's advocation, but it's like these people not gonna like just let you.
Well, we don't have the Atlantic slave trade anymore, right?
We still got the Epstein files.
No, I don't disagree.
Human trafficking never stopped. You think that business just disappeared?
It's not as blatant, right? It's not something that should be.
I mean, it's been pretty blatant since before I was born.
I hear you.
I'm only 20, but
agree.
People were like looking over and being like.
You agree that if your specific actions, are causing someone else harm, right? or someone else to be enslaved, that you should change your actions, right?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what you got to do. You got to change. You can't just keep doing the same. That's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
So, then what's keeping you from living consistently? Because it sounds like you agree with the ethics.
For me, I don't even work. Like, I do eat mostly organic, like, and I eat chicken, but I'm like, well, it's probably grown in the lab. I'll be real.
Oh, they don't do that yet. Actually, we're not allowed to have that yet.
No, it's been approved by the FDA.
No, because if we did, there would be so many people flocking to it for environmental reasons alone, because it already is a huge decrease, right, from demanding someone be born into existence. It sadly is not available yet, but the individual.
Sadly, I don't know if I want to eat lab-grown meat. You know,
why not?
You trust them people to give you real stuff?
Okay. Have you ever seen a farm that these animals grow up in? These animals.
I'm not saying it's any better, but I'm not saying lab-grown is going to be.
If it's the same.
It's just morally
But listen to me. Hear me out. Okay, so lab-grown flesh, maybe it's questionable in some way, but it's not going to hurt you, right? Versus someone being born.
It could hurt, for all we know, it could hurt
What
your
about
genetics
the individual
for
being
generations
born?
to come.
What about the one being born? Do you think they care about what happens to themselves?
Like a human being or
like a chick?
I'm not sure how long we were disconnected. If somebody will leave a comment in the chat so I can understand that. And I'm not sure what's happening with our connection here today. For anybody who's curious, we are here in Portland, Oregon. We are at the Pioneer Place Mall. It's a beautiful day, very sunny, and we are having conversations with you in the chat as well as folks in person about animal ethics. We're asking, is it ethical to exploit other animals and treat them as objects when we have another option, when we could instead relate to them as individuals to be respected? Let us know your thoughts in the chat. Hi, Johnny Vegan Seed. Hello to the vegans. Hello to the mods. I'm going to have everybody double tap that screen. Keep double tapping the screen. Share the live if you can. If you know somebody who'd be interested in seeing this type of content, please send it their way. I'm going to have the vegans in the chat put a 1. Vegans put a 1. Non-vegans who are curious and open-minded put a 2. And trolls put a 3. Or whatever else you're going to put. This is just to get a sense of who's in the room with us, who's in the chat. Almost 100 people, over 100 people here already. It's great to have a big stream. Hi, Vegan Heretic. I'm seeing some 2s, seeing some 3s, some trolls. Not necessarily here to engage with the trolls, but to those who are putting 2s. I think I saw a couple mixed in there. I'm going to ask you, what is your justification for exploiting other animals in 2026 when we have another option? What justifies that violence and exploitation today? Let's have a discussion about it. Somebody says, what happens if animals overpopulate? So humans are animals. So this question also is reflected back at humans. What happens if humans overpopulate? I'm not sure. Maybe we encourage the use of birth control. We make it free and accessible everywhere. So if a wild animal population is overpopulating, and we need to first ask why that's happening, and we'll find that human causes are behind it. When farmers want to set up big farms of cows and pigs and birds, they are frequently killing off predators in the nearby wild, and they are the natural predators for animals like deer, whose populations are exploding. So we need to first understand that this is a human-generated problem, so it's our responsibility to clean up our own mess in a compassionate manner. So we can use things like contraceptives for deer in the wild rather than shooting them in the head. If we could simply allow them to live out their whole lives free but not have babies, isn't that preferable? That would be preferable, right, to shooting them in the head when we don't need to, right? All right, sorry, it took me a minute to cover that question. It's a little bit complicated. Somebody says that's a good idea. I think it is too. It's a more compassionate alternative to just seeing animals as objects to kill and seeing them as a population to regulate. Because we would never have that attitude, or we shouldn't have that attitude towards human populations. Just because if there was a human group that was exploding in population, that wouldn't justify violating the individual rights of those humans, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. All right, leave your justifications for exploiting other animals in 2026 in the chat so that I can address some of them. Somebody says, what is an object? So an object is something rather than someone. When we treat animals as objects, we objectify them. Does that make sense? Somebody says, compare animals to humans, question mark. I'm not so much comparing humans to animals, but underlining that humans are animals in the first place. Does that make sense? Somebody says, I am vegetarian. So vegetarianism is a diet for those who aren't aware. It's just about not consuming the flesh of other animals, but it still involves seeing other animals as objects to be used within the egg, milk industries, as well as within entertainment, clothing, testing. So if I would want to caution or kind of question, on what basis do you think those forms of animal exploitation are justified? Somebody says animals taste good. So if somebody found a dog to be very tasty, if they thought their flesh tasted great, would that justify using the dog, killing them, stealing their one existence from them? What do you think? If not, if it's not good enough for the dog, why is it good enough for the fish or the pig or the cow or the sheep? Let's hear it. Jason Goot says humans are animals. That's a very important point. More than just saying that we should treat animals well, it's important to also consider the human-animal binary at its root and wonder, are humans animals in the first place? And the answer is yes. We are just another mammal within the kingdom Animalia. Somebody says the microphone uses animal byproducts. What's your source for this? Who was chopped up? Whose skin, whose flesh is within this microphone? I want to hear it. Somebody says, is an animal someone? Absolutely. I'm an animal and I'm a someone. A dog is an animal and they're a someone. Similarly, a pig is an animal and they're a someone too. Same with a fish. They're all sentient. We all feel. We all are individuals with individual qualities. We're different from everybody else. And that makes us persons. That makes us a someone. I'm going to ask everybody here to keep double tapping that screen. Share the live if you can. If you have a chat or a friend who would be interested in this type of content, please do send the live their way. I'm not necessarily here to argue, but I want to start up a conversation. We're here in Portland, and I'm asking, is it ethical to exploit other animals in 2026?
You want to do an interview?
Yes, I would. All right. Are you comfortable being on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your name?
I'm Lily Rucker.
Lily. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
How do you feel about animals?
I love animals.
You love animals?
Yeah.
Do you have any companions at home?
I have one dog. His name is Roscoe. And I used to have a cat. And I used to have a fish.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm so
No, you're all right. With the time that you spend taking care of those animals, getting to know them, what does it teach you about their feelings?
Oh my gosh, they're so emotional. Like, pets are so emotional. And they just, like, when you meet a random dog, like, you can just tell that they love you so much. Or
Right.
maybe they don't love you, but...
Right, they're individuals. They like some people, maybe not others.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a difference between, say, a dog and a pig, or say a dog and a fish in their ability to be an individual and to have feelings?
I would say they all have feelings. I don't really eat like meat. I'm more like I like cottage cheese and I like salmon a lot. I'm from Alaska, so that's kind of just how it was.
But you don't think there's necessarily something different between the animals?
Like in Alaska, we had chickens. Like I don't think chickens should be killed for meat. Like they all have feelings. I mean, animals are just like humans. Like we're animals.
Have you reflected? I agree with everything you just said. Have you reflected on if there's a difference between, say, a fish and a chicken in their ability to suffer or their desire to continue living?
I think they all suffer. I mean, just like knowing like the animal cycle and like knowing how fish die and you know when they spawn.
Right.
Yeah,
So
they die.
cool.
Yeah. But I think then that's okay to eat them. But I don't think like while they're alive they deserve to be killed.
Right. Like
'Cause
maybe if they were kind
they
of, it's
have
kind of
lives.
similar
They're
to
just like us. Like
right.
we don't want to be killed and
Yeah.
all the stuff with like the Epstein stuff. Like no one deserves.
Nobody deserves to be victimized.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
it's kind of
just the same
similar.
thing.
Like it reminds me of when you said you would eat somebody if they already died. It reminds me of roadkill. Like if there was a bird on the side of the road. I mean, I'm not going to blame anybody if they eat somebody who's died. I don't know.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't, because even if there was like a human or a dog that was hit by a car, I probably wouldn't. So do you think you could apply that same logic to fish and say, I respect them as an individual, so even though their body's here.
I totally agree. I mean, like I said, I don't think anything deserves to die. I mean, yeah, like when you say like roadkill, like no one wants to eat like already dead stuff, but
Yeah.
like you would need a dead human.
Right.
I mean, maybe some
We would
people
hope they wouldn't.
Yeah,
right.
but
Have you heard of the term vegan? And if so, what does it mean to you?
I tried to be a vegan.
Oh, you want to be a vegan?
I tried a couple years ago. It was just hard for me because I'm a teenager and it's hard. Like if you're growing up, you kind of need your nutrients, and there's other ways to get nutrients. Like I love seeds.
You were worried that you would miss out on something.
Oh, totally. But I mean, I'm not really like a dairy person. I don't really like drink milk. But I mean, I enjoy meat. I love fish the most.
Right.
But I've
Yeah.
seen the videos of
Right.
like animals being killed, and I've watched chicken be killed.
I
and
wonder, like,
it's terrible.
if you visualize like a scale and you have the enjoyment that you get, or like the satisfaction that you get from eating the fish on one side, and then you have the life and suffering of the fish on the other,
Yeah.
which one within your principles do you start to weigh up more?
Could you say that again?
Like if you're weighing up on one side of the scale and it's the pleasure you get from eating the fish,
Yeah.
and then on the other side you have the life of the fish
Yeah.
and their
It
suffering.
kind of makes you feel guilty.
Which one do you think within your principles do you value higher?
I would say I value them living like a good life, and like I mean we see how like pigs are treated, and like I mean I think it's a lot better like farm, or no, I don't think farmed like animals are good. Like they should be able to live their life to the fullest
Yeah.
in nature where they were made.
Yeah, I hear
That's
you.
the whole point.
I want to provide a definition for how we think of veganism here. So we define it as a principle against using animals when we have the option.
Yeah.
So like if we're in the forest in the middle of nowhere and we're in a survival situation, it's difficult to implement our principle. But if we live in Portland or the surrounding areas, or just if we have access to a grocery store, we're asking, is it fair for us to demand animals enter a slaughterhouse for us if we don't need to?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I think I think slaughterhouses are terrible.
Right.
I mean, it's probably the worst thing you can do to
I
an
hear
animal.
you.
That's the worst way to, I mean, and so many of them are like raised like that. That's all that, I mean, they're just raised to die. They're raised for
I
us
think
to
it's
eat.
fair.
No, not at all.
Do you think that as you reflect on it now, do you think you should continue contributing in the future if it's something that is against your principle?
I think it's complicated because although I do think it's incorrect, like that's just kind of how we're like made.
We're raised.
And I do totally think at some point I will become a vegan or a vegetarian. I think I'd probably be a pescatarian, although it's like terrible that the fish are dying.
So I heard you when you said you weighed up the fish's life over the pleasure you get from consuming them. So why does that lead you to pescatarianism? I'm confused.
I mean, I enjoy fish a lot. I mean,
It's just a lot of enjoyment?
Yeah. I mean, it's again, I think it's terrible, but if I were to go anyway, like
If you found out that like maybe like it flashed across the news screen and it was saying like the human body can get all the protein and amino acids and omegas, it can get everything it needs on plants. If it said that, would you be open to that?
Yeah, if it was convenient and affordable. I think the issue is that there's not a lot of affordable options to like protein bars that are like plant based.
Do you shop at a Winco? Okay, where do you shop?
I go to Whole Foods
Okay.
or Fred Meyer.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's bars called Nugo bars that I really like. They're like between 10 and 20 grams. They're like $1 or $2 per one, just for like a simple suggestion. But I wonder if you found out that there was a way at your grocery store, whichever one you shop at, to eat plants only and get all your nutrients, but also have it be within your budget. If you had those boxes ticked and it was possible for you, would it be fair for you to continue to exploit animals, or would you want to?
I would totally switch
You would
too.
switch?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, if that was like an option and that was the better option and more affordable, it's hard. Like money's hard, especially
Yeah.
if it's like, I mean, we eat very healthy already, and yeah.
Have you heard of Oxford University? They conducted a study on the affordability of certain plant-based diets. There's some that, like, if you eat at a restaurant every day, it's going to be more expensive regardless,
but
right?
I mean, that's
But if you go to
same
the
if
store-
yeah. If you shop and cook your own food, that's
Right.
much more affordable.
And like at our grocery stores, they determined that we could save up to 30% on our bills if we focus on foods like potatoes, rice, beans, local fruit, veg, nuts, seeds, and things like that. If you saw that information and it became clear that this is in my budget, like I could do this, would that be in alignment with who you are?
I would agree with that. Yeah,
think it is?
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to switch. Yeah. I mean,
So when you think about, just to like hammer it home and just to kind of sum up the conversation, when you think about the future and your own principles, how many animals would you prefer are exploited or enter a slaughterhouse for you? Is it more than zero? Would you prefer more than zero animals enter that system
I would
for
prefer
you?
none.
Right.
I mean, that's just like, I mean, it's like, do you
Right.
have a pet?
Yes, I have a
Yeah,
kitty at home.
It's like the thought of your cat like being killed and
It's
eaten.
horrible.
It's terrible.
It's horrible.
I mean, think of it like, I mean, that's just like the same with any other animal. It's all terrible.
Yeah.
I
Do you
mean-
think living a vegan ethic and
I think it's
it
much
would be in
better.
alignment with
Oh,
that?
I mean, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I go to the gym and I exercise, and like, I need to have all of the things. You
You
know,
need all the proteins and the
need
amino acids,
protein,
yeah.
and like, I need to be able to fuel myself, especially with going to school.
Right.
And
I encourage you to look up on
Yeah.
YouTube plant-based bodybuilders.
Okay.
Like they're so big. Like
Really?
like some of their muscles, I'm like, wow, it's so
Yeah.
impressive. Some of them have never ate an animal in their whole life, and they've been able to, and they share how they go about it affordably as well.
yeah,
I want to ask, there's people in the world who walk by and we don't always reach them. Maybe they're not as compassionate towards animals as you. But if people like you and I don't make the switch, who's going to do it?
exactly. It's just one at a time. If we all do it slowly,
The world becomes a better
exactly,
place slowly, right?
exactly.
Would you take a resource card that links
Yeah,
to some of this information?
totally.
Okay. I would gladly give you one of those. So we are anti-animal use, and our website is right here, antianimaluse.org. It shows some documentaries here. We recommend everyone to watch Dominion because that shows the standards within farms and slaughterhouses. So it allows us to see it, say, do we like it? And then we can choose whether we want to continue being a part of that system or do an alternative, right? Right here is the link directly to that documentary if you want that QR code. And I just want to leave you with a concluding thought that I really enjoyed this conversation. I'm going to continue reflecting on it, and I encourage you to do the same after. She's very open.
Yeah, let us know. How long were we out for? That was so sad. I hate it when it keeps going out like that. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Yay, they said good conversation. Okay. It ended on a really good note. Okay. How long did the live go down for? A whole minute? No way. A whole minute? Oh no. Okay, well we have the audio. No way. Okay, that's so sad. Just a second. Okay, now I'm getting mixed stories. Well, either way, we have it all recorded. Went down for 30 seconds. Okay. All right. We'll probably go with that. It's probably 30 seconds. Appreciate y'all. Okay, hold on. Let me check the shot filter. Shot filter. There we go. Okay. So, y'all, we're here in Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. Feeling really good. We've had a lot of good conversations, side conversations, conversations on camera. I don't know. I'm feeling really good. It's a good day today, guys. A lot of good people making changes for the better so that animals aren't subject to being exploited and enslaved. So, just feeling good. So, tell me, y'all, who's in here? If you're vegan, put a 1. If you're not vegan, put a 2. We're here in beautiful Portland, Oregon, Pioneer Place Mall, waiting to talk to some strangers, but I want to know who's in my chat. Who am I talking to? All right. Got some vegans. What's up, vegan heretic? I see you. Awesome. Hey, what's up? Hey, U-Tops. I see you again. All right. Awesome. Okay. We've got some spreads. So those that put a 2, can you maybe tell me what's holding you back from being vegan? And I'll tell you what veganism is. Veganism is this ethical stance against the exploitation of others. So I don't want to demand someone else, but hey, what's up, Johnny Vegan Seed? I don't want to demand someone else be enslaved for me because I don't want to be enslaved for someone else. Does that ring true with your own principles? What's stopping you from living in alignment with that principle? Yas, vegan for life. What's up, John? Or sorry, wow, it's because you said John. What's up, Ben? Ben from Berlin. Yeah. Another damn vegan. What's up? Yes. So if you do follow Abrahamic religions and you believe in Jesus, definitely go check out Christspiracy. It talks about how Jesus lived his life, and they look at the original sea scrolls, the first translations of the Bible, and actually what a lot of these words mean that a lot of people use against veganism. You'd be surprised that your God is probably more vegan than you thought. So what's stopping you from being vegan? Maybe I missed something. Let's see. I'm all for veganism, but attempted the diet multiple times and suffered extreme fatigue and brain fog, even with supplements. So what I would do is I would look up a free plant-based dietitian. And there are vegan challenges that offer that. You can go to antianimaluse.org, and we actually have 10 weeks to vegan there. There's a dietitian that does make up your meal plan. There's also Challenge 22. They give you an option to talk to an actual plant-based dietitian, which is really nice. So there's avenues. If you truly want to live vegan, it's about looking up those resources, It's just simply starting at least at a Google or whatever search engine you use and typing in, I have this, how can I overcome it, right? Because it really comes out of principle that we live vegan. It's not out of preference for taste or something. It's also not about health. If you want to be healthy, that's great. You can do that on a vegan diet, but that's not what veganism is about. I do think that your God is vegan, yes. I think that your God gave you permission to survive a harsh environment because you're living in sin now. But I think that also this time of living in sin is a test for you. In the face of pleasure, you should do the right thing and, not exploit others. Even though it's so pleasurable and beneficial for you, you should abstain from taking from others. Yeah, so veganism is this stance, an ethical stance that you take with your actions. You don't purchase, you don't support, you don't, celebrate using others without their consent. I would argue that your God is vegan. It's just that, I understand that there's some phrases in there that can make it sound like he's talking to you right now, but a lot of these quotes that people tell me are really taken out of context of God talking to other people in a different situation than you. So regardless of what your book says, what we do know for sure and have evidence for is that animals feel. They have emotions, their own experience of emotions. They avoid suffering and they want to have that next positive experience. And I would argue that's all we care about in other humans, right? Like, do we care about how smart they are, what they look like? No. Yeah, I don't have abortions, so I don't know why people keep spamming that. Abortions don't happen as often as you think they do, and it's a medical procedure. Are you out here also advocating against tumors being removed? Right? That tumor is living, right? It has blood flow and flesh and nerves. So, should we keep tumors as well? It's a medical procedure. It's about the person that's experiencing the symptoms of something and talking with their doctor about how to have a solution. And it's none of your business. I support not violating someone's autonomy and not stealing someone's sentience. It's clearly sentient. No, I said that I have the rights to take care of myself. And just because there's something growing in me that doesn't give whatever's growing in me rights to my body, just like any other being, just because someone occupies inside of you, that doesn't mean that your body's no longer yours. A lot of humans think they can do that to other animals. They can put their arm up a cow, make a baby cow, and that's their right to do so. And that cow has inherent rights to not be exploited. Yes, but then you go into having Jesus, right, die for your sins, and that was so that you didn't have to have sacrifice anymore. He said, I don't want sacrifice anymore. So your God constantly talks about peace and benevolence and mercy, and you're sandwiched with vegan ethics from your Garden of Eden to the end times where there will be no death or evil on my mountain. Even heaven is going to be vegan. So, I mean, really, shouldn't you be trying to live to the closest ideal that your God tells you is perfect? Or should you use excuses and say, oh, I'm not perfect, so I'm just going to not try? What would your God want you to do?
Somebody asked, what city are we in? We are in Portland, Oregon. We are at Pioneer Place Mall. And we're asking folks in the chat, as well as with people in person who are comfortable enough to stop by, we're asking about animal ethics. Is it ethical to exploit other animals and use them as objects within the flesh and milk and egg, as well as entertainment and clothing industries? Is it fair when we live in 2026 and we have another option? Let's hear your thoughts. The chat moves quick, so if you notice we don't address your comment, leave it again. That Vegan for Life says animals are friends, not food. Yeah, they are. Just because we're animals as well, and I'm not food.
Yeah, they're our relatives.
We share the kingdom animalia with them.
Yep.
We share sentience and a preference to live,
Yeah.
and an ability to have a personality. Somebody says animals are friends and food. How does that work? If my dog was my friend, could I also turn them into food? Could I steal their life from them, exploit them? Would that be compatible with them being my friend? I'm not so sure. Somebody says, what's the other options in 2026? So within food, we can choose plant-only options at the grocery store or the farmer's market. We can even buy seeds to grow our own plants.
Yeah.
So we don't need to consume the flesh or secretions of animals. Within entertainment, we can watch a nature documentary rather than go to the zoo or the aquarium or the rodeo. And within animal testing, we can purchase the cruelty-free cosmetic product. If we have those options and we can choose to opt out of exploiting our animal relatives that we share the planet with, why wouldn't we?
Yeah. If there's an animal sanctuary near you, you could also visit them and, offer some time in helping take care of the animals and get to know them and understand why it's so important not to use them the way that they're being used.
Yeah, it makes their sentience so clear when we spend time with them. When we see their personalities come out, makes it clear that it's not acceptable to use them for their bodies. Somebody says plants are boring. So this tells me that you might not know what seasonings are. You have to season plants, just like you would season flesh if you want it to taste good. So just look up plant-based recipes. You can go to antianimaluse.org, or you can go to totalliberationnow.org. There's some recipe resources on both of those.
Yeah, and a lot of spices are derivative from plants themselves.
Most.
So we need plants. Yeah, we need plants, very much so.
Somebody says, as a meat eater, plants taste good, bro. Thank you. That's very true. If you prepare plants tasty, then they'll be tasty.
Yep.
You're just spamming your comment that plants are boring again. We just addressed this point. We're not going to continue with the troll comments. Somebody says, you guys look hungry. Honestly, I'm starting to get hungry for lunch. You're right. We've been out here since 11 a.m. and we're going on past 1 o'clock. So just like everybody else in the world, I would be getting hungry right about now. I'm going to get something to eat after our event here. Just like you would if you hadn't ate in several hours.
Yeah. B12 though, the animals get that as a supplement, and so we can take a B12 supplement. It doesn't cause us any harm to do that, and when we do that, then we don't have to exploit the animal. So
yeah, why use the animal's body as a middleman for your nutrient? Why not just get it directly? Chat is moving quick. There's a lot of people here. Keep double tapping that screen. Share the live as well. We're here in Portland, Oregon, for those curious. We're at Pioneer Place Mall, and we're engaging the public as well as the chat under the topic of animal ethics. We're asking, could it be fair to exploit animals, to treat them as objects to be used when we have another option in 2026, when we could instead relate to them as individuals to be respected?
If you're vegan in the chat, give us a 1. If you're not, give us a 2.
Somebody says, oh my God, they are dying in front of us. Do you mean by like virtue of getting a little bit older every second we're dying? Do you mean to be like that smartass?
Once you're born, you're already in the process of dying. Everyone is.
So great point.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm seeing the 1s and 2s in the chat. I see some open-minded non-vegans. And to them, I want to ask, what's your justification or perhaps your biggest personal obstacle to going vegan? What's your justification for exploiting animals when you don't need to? Let's hear it so we can spark up a discussion.
If it's cultural, you need to look at your culture and see why your culture approves of normalized violence.
Mm-hmm.
So if your religion supports the slaughter of animals, do you want to worship that God that wants you to slaughter animals? That's disgusting. That's horrible.
Cultures aren't universal as well. Within each of the cultures you point to, there are individuals who have chosen to relate to animals as their relatives rather than as resources to exploit. So it just doesn't hold up, this line of argumentation. Somebody says it's natural. So for some big cats, it's natural for them to kill and eat their babies in some situations. Would it be ethical for a human parent to kill their child to eat them just because a big cat does it? Or should we try to live a little different? Should we respect our children even though sometimes other animals don't?
Yeah.
In that sense, it could be natural to eat other animals, but could it be possible that it's natural and unethical when we have another option today?
Yeah, lions and cougars and, they don't have grocery stores. They don't go to grocery stores. So they have a different, set of rules, a different environment, and we don't impose that upon them, but we can do better.
Somebody says it's not natural? What do you mean? It's not natural to eat animals? I think there are arguments to be made to both sides. I'm just not concerned with what is natural in the first place because nature has things which are both ethical and unethical. Oh, it has unethical things and ethical things within it, so we can't use it as our moral baseline. A lot of people in the chat, over 300. Wow. We're in Portland, Oregon. It's a beautiful day. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Keep double tapping that screen. This is anti-animal use.
So somebody says some animals eat other animals for nutrition. I'm an animal. I eat animals and get nutrients too. There's other ways for us to get nutrients that are without having to consume animals. We can get all of the nutrients we need. On a whole food, plant-based diet. You can go to nutritionfacts.org and even learn more about that. There's a vegan Dailey Dozen if you consume all of those different fruits and vegetables and legumes daily. And take a B12 supplement, you're all good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I saw somebody ask, what about eggs? So eggs has many layers of injustice to the industry, to the inherent process. The first is the selective breeding of the female birds. While their ancestors may have laid about an egg every month, the birds in sheds today are laying eggs about once a day. So their bodies have been genetically manipulated and modified to push out an egg every day just for human consumption. That's the first layer. The next layer is that these female birds, while they might live 5 or 10 years if they're free, they're killed about 18 months into their lifespan once they start producing fewer eggs. The industry just sees them as disposable. And another layer of injustice is at the breeding level. Because the egg industry only desires the females who lay eggs, all of the males and intersex birds at 1 day old, while they're fully conscious, they're forced into a blender or a similar method of disposal such as suffocation. Does any of that sound like fairness or justice? If we can choose to boycott that industry, why wouldn't we? How could we justify contributing when we don't need to?
Yeah. And people were complaining about the price of eggs too. That's what gets me. Everybody's saying, "Oh, they're so expensive. Oh, the price of eggs." And then, but you still continue to go and you go buy that, and so you're paying all this money and you're supporting this like huge injustice.
Just because it's been
Yeah.
normalized to us and it's what we know. But we don't need anything from a chicken's egg.
Yep, you could go get Just Egg if you really want to have eggs. You could use Just Egg. It's a great alternative. They have, I think, Reds. I forget what they're called. There's a brand that there's all kinds of egg replacements.
And they taste great. Like Just
Yeah.
Egg, a lot of times in a
Yeah.
breakfast burrito, they've done taste tests and people cannot tell the difference.
Yeah.
Somebody says, does a plant feel pain? No, we don't have any evidence that plants feel pain. That's what differentiates non-sentient life, like plants, from sentient life, like animals. Animals feel pain, they suffer, they have a desire to live. So on what basis can we justify exploiting them and using them for their bodies? Somebody says, yes, they do feel pain, talking about plants. So who would you prefer to put in a gas chamber? A stalk of celery or a living bird? Who is going to gasp for breath and suffer and scream? Maybe not in a human scream way, but they're going to make a vocalization expressing their distress.
Yeah.
Who would you prefer?
Plants don't have brains or central nervous systems.
In
Yeah.
addition, if you're concerned about the amount of plants that are killed, if that's your top concern, when you eat animals, you kill a greater amount of plants because more plants are required when you want to eat an animal than if you eat the plants directly, because the animal eats way more plants than you ever would.
Yeah.
It's a fact of the trophic pyramid,
Yeah.
the energy pyramid. It'll always be more efficient from an energy and resource perspective to consume plants as humans rather than our fellow animals.
Yeah.
Somebody says, what about halal? So halal is a way of killing. We're asking, are animals ours to use in the first place? We're asking, is it acceptable to kill them in any way when we don't need to?
Yeah. If you haven't, check out Joey Carbstrong's investigative footage and video of there was a halal and I forget what the other term for it was, but it was a slaughterhouse, and they can actually see blood running down the streets near
There's
the
no good
slaughterhouse.
slaughterhouse.
There's no good. Yep, it's no good, and a lot of them, the slaughterhouses, the lines are speed up right now because of what our government has put into place, and so animals are literally being slaughtered alive, conscious, skinned alive. It's even worse. It's all bad. It was worse before. It was bad before that. Now it's even worse.
I see somebody
Yeah.
spamming in all caps, carnivore plants. So what's your point? Just because some plants may consume just because they may consume insects, what relevance does that have to how you and I should act? They may need to close up and consume an insect. Do you? Do you need to kill to survive, or do you live in proximity to a grocery store, or do you shop at the supermarket? If you have another option, what justifies your contribution to animals being exploited?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
And if you have some constructive things to say other than body shaming us or saying other types of insults, something intelligent maybe, because we like to have intelligent conversations with people, then put it out there.
Yeah.
You know, we're here to have a serious discussion about something very, very serious happening in the world.
Yeah, we take your insults as confessions
Yeah.
of weakness and confessions that you're scraping the bottom of the barrel and you have no better argument. So do better. Somebody says stop killing plants. Why? Tell us why. We have some trollish comments. I'm gonna ask everyone to double tap that screen, keep sharing the live, and I'm gonna have the vegans put a 1 or green hearts or both in the chat. Vegans put a 1 or green hearts. Non-vegans who are open-minded put a 2. If you're open-minded but not vegan, put a 2. And trolls put a 3 or whatever else you're gonna put. I wanna get a sense of who's in the chat, what the spread is.
Yep.
We're seeing the personal ad hominem attacks, and we're taking them as your concession that you have no justifications for exploiting other animals. It seems kind of weak. You don't have any. Let's hear them. I'm not trying to be condescending to anybody engaging in good faith, but there are a lot of folks being bigoted and trollish in the comments, and I'm only directing that energy at them. We're not necessarily here to argue, but we are here to ask a conversation, or to open up a conversation and ask the following question. Is it ethical to exploit animals for their bodies, their secretions, for entertainment, clothing, testing? When we have another option, what would justify this violence and exploitation?
Vegan for 17 years. Thank you. Thank you for all the awesome, lovely vegans in the chat and the mods. We appreciate you being here with us.
Somebody says, is having sex with animals okay? So with consenting human animals, yes, but with other animals, no. Treat them much like you would treat a child. They cannot consent to sex.
It's against the law to do that too. It's actually illegal, and farmers are doing that every single day, committing rape and bestiality against all kinds of animals, especially cows.
In terms of land animals, we're approaching 100 billion animals being bred into existence to be killed every single year. How is that happening? Do you really think they're naturally breeding? If you do, you've been fooled. Artificial insemination is the systemic practice of animal agriculture. It is how the food you currently consume, if you eat animals, it's how it's being produced.
Yep.
And it is a practice akin to rape, to sexual violation. And do you want to be part of that?
Yep,
Should we contribute to that as people who support justice? As feminists, should we support that?
You can't be a feminist and not be vegan. You gotta be vegan.
It's consistency.
Yep.
Let's see. Somebody says, well, my cows always wanted the bowl. So would it be fair to trap a female dog and just so they can be raped by some random cow or by some random dog? Would that be fair? And if it's not fair for the dog, what makes it fair for the cow? And even if I don't know. Wow, the chat moves quick. If you find we're not addressing your point, it's not because we're not trying to, it's because, or we're avoiding it. It's because there's so many of y'all here. There's almost 500 people in the room at times when it jumps up. So please just paste it again. Somebody says plant murderer. So who would you rather kill? Who would you rather kill? Would you rather step on a piece of grass or step on a puppy?
Yep.
I think I know which one I'd prefer. Somebody says plants can feel and react to emotions and music. So you're eating something that can feel and react to pain. Nope, those are some jumps you made. You said plants can feel and react to emotions and music. Not true. Plants can react to certain things. There is no reliable evidence that plants react to music and emotions. That's just not true. Provide the scientific study if you have it. They can react to certain stimulus like the sun, like water, like good soil, nutrients in the soil, things like that. So that the claim that we're eating something that can feel, you haven't provided evidence for that. And I do want to hear it if you seem to think you have it. So paste the title of the study that determines plants are sentient in the same way that animals are. We do want to see the evidence if you have it. Somebody says plant biologist here. You're incorrect. Oh. And if there was a climate scientist who said, climate scientist here, global warming isn't real, would you expect me to take you at your word? Or should I look at the consensus among scientists and the data? Because the consensus amongst data and amongst plant biologists is that they are not sentient, they do not feel, because they don't have a brain or a central nervous system. So try again. Somebody says, prove global warming LMFAO. So we're not here to reach people who are climate deniers.
Yeah.
The trolls, the climate deniers, we're not necessarily here to reach you. We're here to reach the people who left twos. And I want to ask them again, what is the justification for exploiting other animals in 2026 when we have another option? What justifies picking up the pig flesh rather than the can of beans or the mock meat or the block of tofu? What justifies attending the aquarium and forcing dolphins to be in a tank when you could watch a documentary of dolphins when they're free in the wild? What justifies exploiting animals when we don't need to?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. And the life of veganism, if you practice veganism, there's all kinds of wonderful side effects from it. Your health improves, and yes, you do contribute to a healthier planet, and you do contribute to less suffering and violence in the world. And why not? Why wouldn't you choose that over choosing a life of suffering for everything all around?
Somebody says, what the hell is a consenting human animal? When I said consenting human animal, I'm drawing attention to the fact that humans are also animals, that our fellow animals on this planet are our relatives. That's what I'm drawing attention to.
Yeah. People like to separate themselves all the time.
Right, they like to have a human-animal binary which insists that we are not animals, but there's an animal within us. We are just a mammal within kingdom Animalia.
Yeah. Cows are mammals too, and they're very maternal, and they get victimized and their babies taken away. We're coming up on Mother's Day, and all these poor mother animals get separated from their babies. It's a abomination. It shouldn't be happening.
Somebody says vegan food tastes like shit. Let's say it does. I don't consume food that I don't think tastes good, let's be clear. But let's say vegan food tastes half as good as omnivore food. When you weigh up that reduction in pleasure, maybe you're envisioning a scale and you have an increase in pleasure on one side, you get more pleasure on one side, but on the other, you have the entire life and suffering of another animal. What do you value higher within your own principles? It's an important question to ask. Let's hear your response. Somebody says, do you think animals know when Mother's Day is? No, that wasn't the point that Rebecca was making.
Yeah.
Rebecca was making the point that motherhood is exploited within all animal industries because they have to use mothers to repopulate these industries so they can continue using these animals.
Yeah, I was just saying that, why not think outside of the box? On a day that we celebrate mothers, there's all these other, non-human animal mothers, and they're just exploited and used and oppressed. Yeah.
We're getting ready to wrap up here,
Yep.
folks. We're here in Portland, Oregon, in Pioneer Place. We are anti-animal use advocacy, wrapping up here in Portland.
Yep.
I want to ask the non-vegans to keep engaging in the chat. I want to thank the vegans for being here. It's all been here a long time now. The mods, thank you so much. It's really helpful to have some of that bigotry filtered out.
Yeah.
One happy ham and awesome. Awesome. Yes. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much for being here, y'all. Thank you again. I heard Cooper thanking the mods. Really do thank the mods, and thank you for the vegans answering questions that we didn't get to. Thank you so much. I'm Vegan Stoner Lady. We're anti-animal use. You can find Vegan Stoner Lady on every platform. You can find anti-animal use on every platform. Please go follow anti-animal use. And with that, I'm gonna pass around the mic. Make sure you follow all of these lovely vegans.
I am Enigma. You can find me on Instagram at Genderless Enigma. My partner and I have also started a project called Total Liberation Now, where we examine the interconnectedness of human oppression with beyond human oppression and the oppression of our fellow Earthlings. So if you're interested in that type of content, do subscribe to Total Liberation Now on YouTube or follow on Instagram or TikTok. You can also look up totalliberationnow.org. I've set up some resources there, so if you're curious about those topics, that's another great place to go. Thank you, all the vegans and mods, for being here. I want to encourage anybody who's a non-vegan who has found these conversations insightful, or maybe it's got you reflecting. Consider subscribing, as Anna said, to Anti-Animal Use, because we are frequently making this content. We are regular, so yeah.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and definitely check out the resources. You can learn something. I'm always learning new things too. I'm an activist, but I also, we don't know everything. We have to be open-minded about things. So, but anyways, I'm Rebecca. I'm also the Uncaged Front. I have a blog at theuncagedfront.org, and I'm on Instagram. So check out some of my blog posts. Some of them are like informational. Some of them are based on dystopia, which is kind of like the horrible feeling that vegans get having to exist in this type of world sometimes, having to deal with that. But anyways, thank you all for being here. Have a good day.
Hi, I'm Pam. Thank you so much for coming today.
Awesome. Yes. Okay. And with that, we're going to send you off to have a great vegan day. Thank you all for being here. And yeah, we'll catch you later. Bye.
Visit antianimaluse.org for more